Hey there, Cosmic Warriors, and welcome back to another video. My name is Hannah, so welcome if you're new here. My name is Hannah. I am a Western Practical Astrologer, and I am here today to talk all about the month of October. So we're going to be looking at the astrology forecast for this month. Happy October, everyone. How are we feeling about it? How are you doing? How's your Sunday going? Hello, anime star. Hi. Has anyone seen a good movie about astrology? You know what? I don't believe I have. I could say that though, and then maybe later on I'll think of some movie tied to astrology. Then I'll be kicking myself. But you know what? It would be really interesting to see some sort of blockbuster movie to do with astrology, wouldn't it? That'd be really cool. Please cast me, please. Joke. Hi, Danielle. How are you doing? So, yes, we're going to get into this month. Hi, is it Cherry? Cherie or Cherry? Hello to you. You're watching from Florida in the USA. I just want to show you my mug. Seeing as it's the 1st of October, it's little jack-o'-lantern, and then it says trick or treat on the rim. But yeah, spooky season, everyone. It has begun. Hello, Renzo. Thank you so much. Thank you. I actually have not straightened my hair today. It goes really, really frizzy. It just kind of goes wild. And yeah, so thank you, because I have not put a lot of effort into it at all. Hello, Kaylee? Is it Kaylee? Is that how you pronounce your name? Hello. And yes, anime star, it would be amazing if there was some sort of like all action, really fun astrology movie. That's a great idea that you just put into the ether, into the zeitgeist. So I think that's the terminologies. Yes, Danielle, you love spooky season. Well, on that note, let me just show you this presentation. October. Ta-da! Sorry. October. I especially like the little ghosty. I just thought, oh my gosh, that little ghosty is so, so cute. I need to put that on the cover for this month. So, just before we do dive into everything October related, which this live stream is probably going to be a long one because this month is going to be full of activity, many changes. But before we get into it, I just want to make you aware of what I have to offer here. So if you're interested in the astrology guide, cheat sheets, merch, ebooks, you can find all of these digital products over at Etsy and on my website, hannahselsewhere.com. Of course, with the merch, that is not a digital product, but you can check out those astrology products. And then also, I just want to say thank you so much to my patrons over at Patreon. You know who you are. Thank you so, so much for all of your support. Because of you, I'm able to create this content. You're supporting the channel, so thank you so much. And if you're interested in becoming a patron, you can do so by going to the link below, by going to the Hannah's Elsewhere Patreon. Some extra information over there, PDF guides, behind the scenes. Okay, so let's get into this. As you can see, a lot going on. I also like the images on this one. I like the witch's hat. I like the candy apple. Candy apples just remind me so much of Halloween. Super fun. So this is showing then all of the movements, the important dates for October. So we have Black Moon Lilith entering Virgo. We also have some other shifts going on with Virgo this month. So we have Venus entering Virgo on the 8th of October, and we have Juno entering Virgo on the 17th of October. So we're going to be talking about these moves today. We're going to be touching on them. Mercury is also on the move. Of course, Mercury was in Virgo there for a good few weeks. So Mercury's changing signs. Mercury's going to be entering Libra. Mercury will also enter Scorpio this month. And the other thing about Venus too is remember that Venus has been in Leo for the past 4 months. So this is going to be quite a transition for us all. Pluto is also going to turn direct after being retrograde for a whopping 5 months. Of course, it usually is every year. So this really isn't anything new, but still Pluto direct, as well as Mars entering Scorpio just a couple of days later, which is quite a significant thing, I would say, too, given the fact that both Pluto and Mars rule Scorpio. Then we have the solar eclipse in Libra happening on the 14th of October, plus the lunar eclipse happening in Taurus at the end of October. So as you can tell, we are entering eclipse season, full force. And then the other thing is Scorpio season begins from the 23rd of October onwards. So yeah, this is basically an overview of all of the important dates, and we're going to get into it. Hi, Alexander. Welcome. Hope you're well. And Danielle, you said this is your Venus return coming up. I know a couple people in my life who have Venus and Virgo, and I suppose the thing with this is with Venus being in Leo for so long, it could be that, like, especially people who have Venus and Virgo, it can feel as if there's just been so many delays and so many delays. But with Venus now finally entering Virgo, this may feel like almost like a weight has been lifted, so to speak. Okay. So Mercury enters Libra. And so this will take place from the 4th of October until the 22nd of October. So what do we typically think about here when it comes to Mercury entering Libra? Well, this can invite our ability to analyze both sides of a situation. Libra is quite good at seeing both sides within any scenario, not just both sides, but all sides. And I suppose with that as well, Libra can play devil's advocate. So you may find that throughout October, there's a couple of weeks where we might try and play devil's advocate as a way maybe to validate information, to validicize it? No, just to make sure that it's correct, basically. Yeah. And also listening to other people's point of view. Okay, so where we really try to put ourselves into other people's shoes to gain a new perspective or to see at least where they are coming from. There is the ability here with Mercury and Libra to put ourselves into other people's shoes. And the other thing with this is taking time. We can take time when making decisions because we're able to weigh the pros versus the cons. Of course, the thing about this is that this Mercury and Libra energy can also point toward being so on the fence, maybe too much, or weighing things out a little bit too much. But it still gives us the opportunity to explore our options. This also invites rational communication. Okay, having more of a level head, I would say, and being even somewhat balanced in how we learn and how we deliver information. So I think this energy can be quite useful. I think that Mercury tends to like being in it likes being in air signs, essentially, because you think of Aquarius, Gemini, Libra, all air signs. They are more geared toward the mind, communication. So with Mercury being in Libra, this can perhaps point toward just greater consideration, greater thoughtfulness, and greater balance overall when it comes to our mindset. Now, with that being said, there's also often a tug of war that happens within Libra, and it's the tug of war between the mind versus the heart. And also, Libra can be idealistic, perhaps too idealistic at times. So, yes, I would say that this few weeks coming up, couple of weeks coming up throughout October, of course, it can invite more rational thinking, more rational communicating, trying to see each side or all sides within situations. Um, but it can also point toward maybe being too in our head as well. Maybe too caught up in the ideal of something or what we would like out of something. Libra can also subtly persuade other people to get what it wants. It's interesting. But yeah, so indeed, giving and receiving feedback from others is another thing. I do just want to say here, hello, Nettie. Hi to you. You're Scorpio. Um, Alexander, hi. Am I feeling well? I am feeling well. I'm not exhausted, no. I'm feeling calm. Moon in Taurus, Moon in Taurus today. I'm feeling calm. I'm feeling pretty relaxed actually. So, yeah, I had plenty of rest there for a few hours before jumping on. So, I'm feeling good. I hope you're feeling good as well. So, as I was saying there is the ability to give feedback and to receive feedback whenever Mercury is in Libra. And of course, with Libra being tied to relationships, this can look at us really trying to explore how it is that we communicate within our relationships. Do we do so with diplomacy? Do we do so with fairness, with understanding? And I think this energy invites the ability to do that, to do those things. But again, just be cautious of getting too caught up in the mind. Now, with that being said, Mercury will conjunct Pallas on the 12th of October. So this is going to invite some strategic thinking, the ability to really be strategic with our words, with our communication. Mercury will also oppose Chiron and the North Node. This will take place around the solar eclipse in Libra. I'm pretty sure that will actually happen on the same day. So Mercury and Chiron will make the same degree on the day of the solar eclipse in Libra. So that perhaps is something to be mindful of, I think. Of course, this can look at conflict resolution, for instance, settling disagreements. But I think it can also look at us being somewhat triggered by other people's words, having like really powerful reactions to other people, taking things even very personally. Now, there will also be that Mercury Cassimi a few days later. So that, of course, is going to happen in Libra. This is when the Sun and Mercury make the same degree. So I think that that's going to invite quite a beneficial time, a rewarding time, in that we can perhaps be more creative, artistic. We can express and share what we wish to say in a way that comes across as poetic or as beautiful or as loving. But again, do consider those oppositions to Aries. Okay. We'll talk more about these oppositions throughout. So Mercury then and the Sun will square Pluto direct before Mercury enters Scorpio. So that will be on the 22nd of October. So that's something to be mindful of as well, I think, because Mercury and the Sun making a square to Pluto direct just before Scorpio season. Yeah, I think that can perhaps point toward many mixed feelings just coming to the surface. And I even think that this has something to do with like the post eclipse, with it, so the aftermath of the eclipse. And in this respect, going back to what I was just trying to say there with the oppositions between Aries and Libra, truths may come out. That's what I'm going to say about that. Truths may come out. And what is the whole thing? Often the truth hurts. Often we don't like to hear the truth. And yeah, I think that this eclipse season, especially with the solar eclipse in Libra, a lot of this stuff is going to be happening where many people are going to be very honest about how they truly feel. And perhaps this can lead to, well, of course, you can look at it in many different ways, but perhaps a part of this, a side to this, is it can lead to destruction, it can lead to separation, it can lead to people just going their own ways, and maybe for the better. But I think this can also, like I was trying to say, conflict resolution, thinking about where you lock horns, where you want to be right all the time and you just can't see beyond your own need or your own like fixation to be correct. So yeah, I just think the square to Pluto, it's going to look at a type of renewal there. Okay. Right. So I've just put basically everything. So like I was saying, Black Moon Lilith, Venus, and Juno are all going to move into Virgo. So I put everything into one slide to make this easier. So Black Moon Lilith moves on the 3rd, Venus moves on the 8th, and then Juno moves on the 17th. Now, I want you to remember with this that during Venus retrograde, which was from the 22nd of July all the way up until the 3rd of September, these three bodies were, well, I mean, to the asteroid planet point, if you want to be, literal about it. But yes, these three bodies were all in Leo. And now they're going to be in Virgo. So the energy is going to change. It's going to change substantially. So this is going to be about acts of service. This is going to be about addressing what is versus what is not working, paying attention to the details, even if they seem minor, even if they seem irrelevant, really trying to look at all of the moving parts that create even the greater whole, looking also at how we can freshen up our environment, freshen up our surroundings, get our finances in order, see what needs to be organized. But this doesn't have to be about drastic change or going over the top, or the whole Leo thing of it being extravagant or wow factor. It's more about, right, let's just focus on the basics, the necessities. Let's look at the systems in a very somewhat matter of fact way and try and remove ego from this as well a little bit. Try to just practice a greater sense of humility, modesty. And if you need to make certain cuts, it's like, right, okay, make those cuts. If you need to save or budget for something, you can, of course, start to do that. But of course, remember there was the new moon in Virgo, which happened throughout September, and that was a good time to set new intentions to do with such things. So I think that with Venus being in Virgo plus Libra season, right? Venus is the ruler of Libra. That is going to continue the story, so to speak, when it comes to the new moon intentions that we set. And I think a lot of that then has to do with the little things, the little things that count. Now, this is also perhaps about showing love by making an effort. And we can make adjustments when need be, adjustments when required, adjustments so that there can be improvements. We can make adjustments and improvements then to the likes of, yes, our relationships, our behaviors within relationships, how we approach them, but also looking at our beauty, looking at our appearance, looking at our hygiene, making sure that we're taking care of ourselves, self-care, looking at art, looking at our finances, our belongings, and so on. Now, Venus will conjunct Lilith on the 9th of October. So I think, well, here's the thing. I think, considering all of the moving parts throughout October, it is going to be a relatively intense month in that many of us are having to confront what we do not like or what we do not want to see. Perhaps Venus conjunct Lilith will be then an opportunity for us to, in a way, explore the more darker sides of ourselves, or even this can look at how we can free ourselves from a situation that we have been turning a blind eye toward. Now, do keep in mind that there was the Venus conjunction to Lilith in Leo, so that was a while ago. But this time, I think the story is moving slightly away from creativity and romance and generosity and play and individuality. The story's changing from that to a story that's more about how it is that you look after yourself. How are you looking after your body? How are you supporting your body? What practical steps do you have in place? And do you show this like a genuine dedication to your work, to your services? Is there a genuine sort of love there? Is there a genuine, like, reliable approach that you're putting to it, that you're bringing to your work? And even being honest about what it is that can be improved, whilst at the same time trying not to be super punishing or super critical toward the self. That's often something Virgo struggles with, I think, in that the self-help stuff, the practice makes perfect stuff, the improvement stuff, that can often turn into I'm bad, I'm really crappy at this, I'm not perfect at this, so I'm upset about it. It must mean that I can't do this or that I don't have what it takes. And then I think the other thing with this is something that's come up for me recently, is often in life when we make a mistake, we can often punish our character. We can punish who we are as people rather than just looking at it as that was a behavior, that was an action, that was something that I did, but that doesn't define who I am as a whole. And I think that that can be a very Virgo thing, where we can make a mistake and then we can associate that mistake with, well, I must be bad. So, yeah, I think that this is something to just heavily take into consideration as all of these bodies move into Virgo. This can be quite a sensitive time in this respect, especially given the fact that both Venus and Lilith will oppose Saturn retrograde the second week of October. So, with that opposition, it's almost like we can be especially self deprecating or especially punishing, or we can suffer. It's like we can suffer in this state of emotional distress, or we can even neglect our body's needs. So, I think in this way, if we consider how Saturn has been retrograde for a good while, I think from I can't exactly remember the date. It was around May, June time perhaps that it started to retrograde, but it's went from 7 degrees and it's going all the way back to 0 degrees. And by November, it will turn direct again. So basically what I'm trying to say is over the past few months, we have been revisiting the emotional maturity that we have been addressing, or that we addressed since Saturn first entered Pisces. So that was from March up until June time. So there's been a lot of emotional maturity and emotional growth happening for us. And I think as well, a big part of this is owning our projections, owning our emotions. So all of this is to say, Venus and Lilith opposite Saturn will sort of be like us looking in the mirror and having to give ourselves like either a pep talk, or having to give ourselves a talk of, you have changed so much, you have grown so much. Try and not to repeat the same cycle, the same pattern. Try and see how you have evolved already, even within the space of half a year. Just remind yourself of the hard work you've been doing and the effort you've been putting in. Like, this will just be a bump in the road. It's not going to be forever, and by bump in the road, I mean, similar sort of insecurities coming up to the surface, or being triggered by a certain situation. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, I'm spiraling and my emotions are going crazy. It's trying to just keep yourself like more centered and grounded through that, and to remind yourself of how far you've come. Now, Juno will also oppose Saturn retrograde, and then Venus will trine Jupiter retrograde around the third week of October. So I think with that, okay, with Juno, perhaps this can look at being confronted with meaning, like what we want within relationships in terms of the meaningful bonds, establishing meaningful relationships. And I think a lot of that has to do with dedication, devotion, honesty, and even just feeling like, things are in order with Juno being in Virgo. So that can be maybe a time of like, okay, well, how committed are you to this plan, or this relationship, for example? But with Venus trine Jupiter retrograde, that can give us some positivity. I think that can give us some optimism as well. We got to keep in mind that yes, Jupiter is still in Taurus, and Jupiter in Taurus then creates a trine to Virgo bias as a sign. And so that can actually be quite supportive for us. So I think Jupiter in a way can help with any negative thoughts that come, or any spiraling that comes. It can come along and say, hey, you can do this. I'm going to support you through this. Just try and focus on what your body needs right now. Like, put your personal needs first in terms of your body. I think Jupiter in Taurus has been teaching us this collectively, the importance of like giving our body good things, like nourishing it. And that can look like that can play it in many different ways, just depending on who you are, thinking about context. Then Juno will conjunct Lilith as well at the beginning of Scorpio season. So with that conjunction, yeah, I think that this is also going to be a way for us to just see, okay, what am I bringing to the party? And is it that certain criticisms and faults and negative behaviors and actions, is it that they can often, what is it like, result in self-sabotage? But again, I think it's about being able to liberate ourselves, to free ourselves, to overcome any behaviors where we're so blinded, like we're blinded by our own like self-deprecation. But like I said, with Virgo, there can be this part of Virgo, but there's the other part of Virgo where it can look so much at, okay, let's improve this. I know how to support myself through this. And we can move forward in a way where things are more orderly. And there's that perhaps that can even result in greater security, greater closeness, then feeling more secure. It is interesting to me because, well, with Venus being retrograde in Leo over the summer, and with the squares to Uranus and Jupiter, we have noticed just how many sudden changes have been happening within relationships, when it comes to art, when it comes to teams and groups, even as well, like certain band members breaking up, I've noticed. But at the same time, the sudden changes where people are all of a sudden getting together, and people that you thought wouldn't be a couple, they are a couple. um, yeah, I think there has been many surprises, basically. And that is also relates to for example, um, being surprised by some financial situation or a job situation or a skill, something to do with your skills, your talents, etc. But then with October coming along, and we're going to be in Libra season for a lot of it, and then Venus moving into Virgo, perhaps this is looking at then um, really asking ourselves, like, what is and isn't working, reconsidering a few matters too. But this isn't just about other people. This is also about ourselves. This is also about looking within. This is about trying to explore the subconscious. Libra season is so much about the subconscious in this respect, and especially coming into Scorpio season, my gosh, it's really going to be about diving deeper. But the last thing I want to say with this is Venus trine Uranus retrograde. And this is going to happen on Halloween. Okay. Now, with the trine, again, this can be unexpected events here to do with the likes of um, money and work and even health. Okay. Thinking about relationships again. But I think the trine can maybe even be quite supportive. Okay. In that perhaps there is some type of material security change, but it's maybe it is a bit more supportive and comforting, and it's not so jarring, or it's not so it's not so uncomfortable, basically. And perhaps as well, because it's Virgo, it's like a little minor, it's minor cases, minor instances. It could be just something as small as um your partner deciding that they're going to change their diet, like, something as small as that. Just yeah. So yes, that's what I just want to say about Halloween. So keep your eyes peeled. Halloween should be interesting in this way to see what changes come up. Hello, Eddie. Welcome. How are you doing? Um, Hello, Victoria. How are you? Good to see you. Uh, been feeling the change, you say, Eddie? Yeah. Hello, Zenergy. Welcome. Perfect timing. You said your Venus is in Virgo as well. Interesting. And you said that we're all exhausted this month. Put everyone to sleep. Yeah. Do you know what? I was so tired yesterday, especially. Oh my gosh, I just did not want to do anything yesterday. Oh, I just wanted to lock myself away and just eat chocolate and do nothing, honestly. But yeah, I'm just feeling calm today, and it's nice. But it is interesting with full moons. I realize that with full moons, because full moons can be quite powerful, and that was quite a powerful full moon. It was a super full moon, wasn't it? And with it being in Aries, just the power and the strength of that, and then with many of us feeling this push to get so much done, or we maybe felt more energized, then yeah, coming out of that, it's like just need to rest for a while. So you said you've seen multiple posts of people sleeping 14 hours. That's so interesting. There you go. Oh my gosh, it's so interesting. Yeah. And Jessica, hello to you. You said Saturn has been conjunct your natal moon for months. Oh, do you find that you don't like that? Do you have moon in Pisces? Is it like uncomfortable for you if you felt that? How have you experienced it? Okay, so let's move on to Pluto. So Pluto is going to turn direct this month. Yay! I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I mean these planets turn retrograde every year for around the same time, so it's really not anything new. Right, so let's explore how this retrograde has been going on from the 10th of October. Sorry, what am I talking about? My mistake. From the 1st of May until the 10th of October. Okay, so the 1st of May, right up until the 10th of October, Pluto was retrograde in Capricorn. So on the 10th of October, it's going to turn direct in Capricorn. Now, I do remember as well that Pluto had entered Aquarius, right? So that was from March time, wasn't it? So Pluto entered Aquarius March time, and then it started to retrograde, I believe. And was it April? Was it April time? Maybe I need to double check my times, but there was still the retrograde that occurred, and then eventually Pluto did enter Capricorn. Oh, let me double check my facts. Okay, let me double check my facts. Let me see. Okay. Okay. I'm so glad I double checked my facts. All right. So to confirm, Pluto entered Aquarius on the 23rd of March. And then the retrograde started to happen in Aquarius, just to clarify, okay, in Aquarius from the 1st of May. And then this retrograde so Pluto retrograde entered Capricorn on the 11th of June. Just wanted to give those dates just to clarify. But the retrograde of Pluto was still about 5 months. Now, so with that being said, what have you learned? What have you learned throughout this Pluto retrograde? Any personal planets in Capricorn around these degrees? Any angular houses? Any even personal planets um opposing the Pluto in Capricorn around this degree? Any squares? So consider what's come up for you. And the thing about this is this has, of course, ushered in powerful changes, transformations, renewals. But what did you reassess with respect to structure and organization and responsibility? What improvements did you make to your foundation? And are your foundations a lot more stronger and more sturdier this time around, which perhaps can aid us whenever Pluto re-enters Aquarius February 2024. And it's the whole thing that so I've noticed this, people who have Scorpio Gemini placements in my life, they've said to me, work smarter, not harder. And I think that Pluto retrograde in Capricorn is very much about this. And I think Pluto in Capricorn in general for the past 15 years, it has ushered in this very, like, would you say slogan? Work smarter, not harder. So yeah, reassessing the building blocks of your business, if you have one, of your purpose, your life's work. Now Mars will enter Scorpio 2 days later, and then the dispositor of Pluto, which is Saturn, that will oppose Virgo. That'll be opposite Virgo. And the other thing with this then, of course, is both Pluto and Mars are the rulers of Scorpio. So maybe it's a good idea to look at your Scorpio house during this time. What's been going on there within your Scorpio house. And then before Scorpio season begins, Mercury and the Sun, like I said, will square Pluto. which is what we touched on just before. Okay, so I'm going to try and move a little bit quicker through this because I want to spend more time on horoscopes. Okay, so Mars will enter Scorpio. This will be from the 12th of October until the 24th of November. Last time Mars was in Scorpio was actually from the 30th of October until the 13th of December 2021. And can I just say, I remember that time period. I mean, whenever Mars is in Scorpio, it actually transits my third house. And I have Scorpio in the third house. I've got Pluto in the third house. And my focus, my concentration during that time is on fire. It is, what is it, concentrated? Yeah, it's really good. It's a really good time. And I remember just being unwavered. Like my brain was just so focused. So that was a good time. Being a power behind, so seeing the power behind our actions. Okay, what is the power? What is the strength behind our actions? This is what Mars and Scorpio can welcome, what it can suggest. And then there we go, self-control, discipline, the ability to master our emotions and our frustrations as well. Mars and Scorpio can move in stealthy ways, in very strategic ways, can move in the shadows, being able to move out of sight. It's like you're probably not going to know what a Mars and Scorpio is working on until boom, it's right there, it's in front of you, which is really beneficial. That can help Mars and Scorpio individuals get ahead in a lot of ways, and especially because it's this whole thing of not giving too much away. And instead of revealing all of your secrets, all of your methods, and you keep them to yourself, and then people aren't going to know what they are, right? So they can't use them against you. Hey. Danielle, you said Taylor Swift has Mars and Scorpio, and oh my goodness, yeah. Yeah, it shows. Woo. But you know what I think of though when I think of this? Yeah, when you you may visit your grandmother's house, right? And your grandmother makes these cookies. Okay, makes these cookies. And you're like, oh, they're really nice cookies. My gosh, like what do you put in those cookies? And your grandmother will give you the recipe. Like, oh, it's the recipe. But she'll always leave out one ingredient, right? She'll leave out that one ingredient. And that's Mars and Scorpio. That is Mars and Scorpio to a T. I think that's just my opinion. I don't have Mars and Scorpio, though I do have Mars making a same degree to my Pluto. I have Mars in Capricorn, 22 degrees, making a same degree to Pluto in Scorpio. So both of them are 22 degrees. But then again, maybe you could say, no, you don't, Hannah. You don't have Mars and Scorpio, because no Mars and Scorpio would have even said that. What are you doing? Anyway, let's move on. Courageously facing the taboo, courageously facing it, and facing what scares you in life. I think that this is what this placement can invite. And acting on our goals, like I said there, with strategy and with focus. Now, Mars will trine Saturn retrograde when Mars does first enter Scorpio. So I think that can be pretty powerful, pretty determined. Yeah, very determined energy. Great. And then there will be that stellium, right? The stellium is going to be happening. It's going to be a groundbreaking time and a transformative time for many of us. And then consider the oppositions to the moon in Taurus during the lunar eclipse. Things are going to be revealed this eclipse season. So do remember as well the eclipses in Scorpio and Taurus, which have been happening since November 2021. The nodes also were in Taurus and Scorpio, North Node being in Taurus, South Node being in Scorpio from the January 2022 until July 2023. So yeah, I would say that with the lunar eclipse happening in Taurus, it's going to be like a completion of sorts, a finalizing, tying up a few loose ends, or like the end of a cycle. Okay, so that should be interesting. So solar eclipse in Libra happening. So this is going to happen on the 14th of October. And this is going to happen at 21 degrees. So this is going to equivalent to the number 3 in numerology. So this is going to be a very engaging, curious, adaptable, communicative solar eclipse. Okay, so there's that part of it. And then what this invites is our ability to plant significant seeds, new significant seeds to do with what? Truth, justice, partnership, looking at the pros versus the cons. But of course, there will be that conjunction to the South Node, and then there will be Mercury in Libra opposite Chiron by the same degree. I think it's 17 degrees. So, yes, like I was trying to say earlier, this can be a good period to sort of to reflect on agreements, to reflect on any sort of settlements, to resolve conflict, to find some sort of resolution when it comes to conflict, to be able to meet in the middle, to be able to find a common ground, looking at relationship repair, looking at mending certain wounds even within relationships, or confronting certain wounds, addressing certain wounds. Okay, so this can be good for personal growth, relationship growth, considering as well what you shed back in April to do with relationships and partnerships. Okay, so there was that full moon in Libra. And so, with that being said, there was a reset, a type of relationship slash shadow slash the other reset. And the thing about this moon, though, is it may be, well, notably painful. Okay, I'm not going to beat around the bush here. This can be a notably painful solar eclipse, and it can very well look at cutting ties. Okay, and this does not just have to be where you cut ties with a friend, because it's like, oh my gosh, they're, the whole buzzword that goes around today, they're toxic, oh, they're toxic, you know, um, it's not necessarily that. I think, of course, it could very well play out where, you find that the friendship that you have with someone, or the type of relationship that you have with your parent, it's not healthy, it's not serving you, it's not good for you. And so, yes, you're cutting ties, and you may prefer to not contact them again or see them again. Okay. But I think that the cutting ties part can also look at, any sort of behaviors that keep us back from being somewhat more direct about what we want. Anytime that we maybe betray ourselves, or anytime whenever we don't speak up, we're not being truthful, we're not really being honest about how we're feeling, or about what we want, what our certain expectations are within a relationship, or what the goal is, or what our preferences are, etc. I think, yeah, it's also about being able to reflect upon ourselves, and to see what it is that how it is that we are holding ourselves back as well. And maybe this has something to do with letting go of an old behavior, of an old pattern, a pattern of behavior. And this could very well look at suffering, and it can look at pain, it can look at heartache. Grief may even come into this. But this is also about this whole thing of loving something, if you love something, to set it free. So, yeah, this could be a situation where you do not align with somebody anymore. You don't align with a group of people, or even with a partnership. This could be a business partnership. You just don't align anymore. And it's not necessarily about, they did this and they did that and it's all them. No, 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 no. It's more just about, okay, I'm coming at this from like a really like logical standpoint, from a truthful standpoint, and that this just is not going to work. It's just not. And that's the truth of the matter. This type of stuff basically can very well come up. But at the same time, of course, it can look at integrating the shadow. It can look at us reflecting upon ourselves. Like I said, with Libra season, it's very much about the shadow. It's very much about the unconscious, and looking at the unseen in this way. What I find it interesting, actually, about, look at the image there. So that's Lady Justice, and there is this mythology to do with Libra in the book that I've been reading Astrology for Lovers by Liz Green. And I'm not going to get into the details of the mythology, but in short terms, there is a character, so to speak, in the mythology of Libra who is blinded. Okay, they are made blind, but that blindness, known as Lady Justice, of course, is blindfolded, but that blindness is actually it points toward insight. It points toward valuable insight. Um, and then the other thing with this as well is, I'm trying to recall, just trying to recall the information. Um, there was there was a blinded goddess from a video recently that I made. There's a blinded goddess, but the whole thing, I think it was Tyche, the goddess Tyche. Um, Tyche was related, I think, to this blinded goddess in some way, and the whole thing about it was rewards, blessings, rewards and blessings can be blindly given and blindly taken away. And so maybe there's something about this blind part of it, with the solar eclipse in Libra. Even if you think about the, as that the moon is sort of covering the sun, it's like, a moment of like inner knowing, a moment of insight. You're being blinded to what is physical, but that forces you to look within. It forces you to like to kind of like look deeper within yourself, and maybe even to use other senses or other forms of knowing. Um, and then I think as well that even looks at karma, right? You think about karma and just considering then the consequences of our actions. Yeah. We'll talk more about this closer to the time. Actually, there'll be a solar eclipse in Libra video more toward the end of the week, so I'm just going to move on from it. So yes, but at the same time, healing, empathizing, supporting, and Venus and Lilith will oppose Saturn retrograde there too. So responsibility there as well, I would say. But considering again with karma, what debts need to be paid, and that goes back to the whole thing that I was talking about, where blessings and rewards can be blindly given, but also blindly taken away, and maybe a part of that is tied to our own sort of karma, and it's tied to our actions, our past choices, our past actions and behaviors. Right. So Mercury will also enter Scorpio. So this will be from the 22nd of October until the 10th of November. So Mercury in Scorpio is very much about reading between the lines, very much about digging deeper, okay, looking beneath the surface. You can kind of imagine like with scorpions living under rocks, it's like you're sort of, just imagine yourself like looking under things, like under rocks, what's hidden, what's buried. And then also what isn't being said, picking up on the little nuances or the undertones, the undercurrents within conversations that can be present as Mercury is in Scorpio. And then the ability to dissect information, the ability to dissect facts. With Mercury in Scorpio, you're not just going to take facts as fact. Mercury and Scorpio people do not do that, at least in my experience. What they'll do is they will look into it for themselves. They'll do their own sort of analysis, their own investigation. Yeah, so it's I think a lot of this is not just taking facts as facts, and it's about doing your own research. And also, with the dissecting part of it, it's also like opening things up. For example, with Scorpio types, I remember actually speaking with my partner because he has a Scorpio rising, and he told me that he what was it? It must have been like a clock or a car, some type of object, but he would have been really interested in like opening up that clock or whatever it is, and really seeing, okay, like how does this work? This is Scorpio energy. It's not just about showing them the clock and saying, oh, here's the clock and da da da. They'll want to actually open up the clock and take it apart bit by bit and kind of go, oh, well, what does that do and what does that do? And then that actually creates a basis of knowing and knowledge and understanding and depth, and it's freaking amazing. Love that about Mercury and Scorpio. Also, catching others out on a lie is a possibility. Scorpio people just have a sixth sense. They just know, they just sense things, okay? They can just sense it, right? Their perspectives are usually profound, very insightful. So this is a time period for us to tap into this energy. Sharp decisions as well, but an even sharper tongue. An even sharper tongue. I am telling you, Virgo risings. Hello, where are you, Virgo risings? Scorpio in the third house. Yeah, I mean, we can be quite cutthroat with our words at times, right? You just don't expect it. Just, you don't want to get on the wrong side of Virgos, nor Mercury and Scorpios, or Scorpios in general, I would say. So yes, there's that. Other people do not need to know your business. Okay, Mercury and Scorpio is like, why do you need to know my business? You go up to this Mercury and Scorpio person, you're like, well, why is this and why is that? And you question, you're like, why do you need to know that? I don't need to tell you that. Go away. Go away. And unless it benefits them, unless it means something, unless they trust you, okay. But yeah, basically Mercury and Scorpio can invite this time period for us. And then, like I said, getting to the core of the subject. And also Mercury trine Saturn retrograde when Mercury does first enter Scorpio. So this is going to invite what? Well, especially with Saturn being 0 degrees, which is a very potent degree. This is going to invite, oh my gosh, an even more focused mind, right? Even more like this concentrated brain where it's like you can really fixate on something, or like focus on it a great deal to understand it more. Though I suppose the other thing with this, the flip side of this could be where we feel quite gloomy or down or low, and that's the thing with it too, is wherever Scorpio is, it can look at brooding, it can look at like fixating on things, emotional fixations, going to extremes, reading too much into things, like thinking that you have the answer to everything, and psychoanalyzing everyone, and thinking that everyone's out to get you, and being super like suspicious of everybody around you. Oh, they have ill intentions. Like, what do they really mean by that? This type of stuff. Okay, so that may be just those things I say may just be things to keep in mind, to be mindful of. Then the stellium in Scorpio, of course, opposite the moon in Taurus during the lunar eclipse in Taurus. There'll be nowhere to hide, basically. You can run from the truth or from yourself. You can't run from the truth or from yourself. My apologies. You cannot run from the truth or from yourself. Yeah, it reminds me of Rafiki from The Lion King. He says, you can either run from the past or learn from the past. So yeah, like I said, with the eclipse season coming, I think a lot is going to be revealed. Let's see. So let's see. I'm just reading comments. Eddie, you said that. Oh, sorry, my mistake. Aura, Aura, Aura. Scorpio rising with Pluto and squares Saturn squares and nodal squares. Defo sleepy. Oh, I hope you get plenty of rest. And Danielle, yes, you said about Mars and Scorpio. Eddie, you said about how Taylor Swift also has a Scorpio rising. Yeah, chart ruler being home in Scorpio in the first house. Wowza, powerful. 5 of Cups energy, is that what you're referring to? Good ship, Lollipop. Tony, you said that Taylor Swift stole your birthday. Oh my gosh, how dare she? How dare she steal your birthday? Can't believe it. But you also have a Scorpio rising. Danielle, you said, oh my gosh, that's awesome. You wish you were a Sagittarius because you're there. Yeah, lucky sign. Though you do have that Jupiter ruling your moon, Danielle, as well. But yeah, so do you know what? I'm kind of with you on that, Danielle. I must say, I wish I had a Sagittarius sun. I wish I was a Sagittarius, you know. I kind of do. I feel like I would bring more joy to the world, you know? I feel like I'd be more extroverted. Love Leos, and you wish you had some Leo in your chart. Oh, look at the love, 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 love. And you know what too, Danielle? I wish I had like strong Leo placements. I do. I really do. Like Venus and Leo. Oh gosh. Mars and Leo. You know, I wonder what I would be like. Tony, you say you have a Sagittarius stellium, Sun, Mercury. Whoa, okay. That's a lot of Sagittarius. That's a lot of Sagittarius. Sounds fun. It sounds fun, but like you say, exhausting. Yeah. A underscore 1Y, you said that this is true. I'm assuming you're talking about the Mercury and Scorpio information. Yeah, Synergy, you said spot on. You have Mercury and Scorpio, and it's retrograde. You've torn apart many things for no reason since you were 8. Wow, interesting. There we go. There's more experiences to share. Your Martin, you said your great grandfather was a clocksmith. Oh my gosh, cool. You never knew that's why. You learned from your past, but you hate that. Some astrologers think Capricorn rising. I know. I know, yeah. I thought it was Capricorn rising to begin with. And then I looked it up on is it Astro Theme, and then it said Scorpio rising. Yeah. I know it'd be good if she could say like confirm the time of birth, but I can see Capricorn rising for sure. I can see that as well. Right. So Scorpio season is going to begin from the 23rd of October. So we're going to be going from being aesthetically focused during Libra season to seeking greater depth and intimacy, from socializing more so, right, with Libra season to trying to find, sorry, from socializing and trying to find a common ground during Libra season to shining a light on the truth, even if it hurts. This is the thing I'm trying to be talking about. And then Mars and Mercury will be in Scorpio for the rest of October as well. So what is your gut telling you? This is the thing with Scorpio season. It's like, well, what is your gut telling you? What's it saying? What's it communicating? Finding a purpose as well in emotional resilience, right? You look at the Phoenix there, the Phoenix rising. There's so much about Scorpio. Scorpios, it's like, let me just say, Scorpios, right? They can go through the most horrendous things in life, right? And they can experience the most traumatic things in life. And by the way, of course, we do all have Scorpio in our charts. I even have Moon in the 8th house, and yeah, I'm not gonna say much more about that. Maybe you can leave that to your imagination. But going through the most horrendous like experiences, but there's also like this renewal, this power, this drive, this will, where it's like, you are not going to hold me down, damn it. You're not. I am not going to let this thing beat me. I'm not going to let the past continuously define me. But it's the extremes as well, right? You can go to those freaking extremes when it comes to Scorpio. But my goodness, this sign is probably one of the most like disciplined, the most dedicated, the most determined, like the strength, the power. The amount of Scorpios that you see like out there front and center doing the work and making changes, like making really powerful changes. It's incredible. It's incredible. I love Scorpio as a sign, and many people do, and I can see perhaps why Scorpio gets so much like attention, so many views. Anyway, so that's what I wanted to say. Then Mars, the dispositor of Scorpio, of the sun during Scorpio season, will be in Scorpio as well. It'll be home in Scorpio throughout the entire season, and this will invite strength, that will invite willpower with respect to determination. So that'll be really empowering. Danielle, you said Ariana Grande is a Capricorn rising, and if you go by appearance wise, they don't look anything alike. Hmm. Interesting. The only thing you want from your granddad is the grandfather clock, but you know how that goes. Anyway. Well, you know what? It's all very interesting to like, to hear your thoughts and your opinions, because it's also something where I'm thinking, maybe something to look into a little bit more. Okay, so there's a lunar eclipse in Taurus, which is going to happen at the very end of the month, 5 degrees. Number 5 in numerology is about freedom and charisma and excitement. So these qualities may be very much tied to this lunar eclipse. It will also conjunct Jupiter retrograde. So, yeah, this can be a moon of great luck and blessings and expansion and growth, a moon of a powerful release as well. It will oppose that stellium in Scorpio. So, with that being said, indeed, this could be where we do not want to back down when it comes to our values, when it comes to our worth during this eclipse. And this is also about releasing anything to do with like being overly indulgent or overly lazy, and even shining a light on our desires, our values, our priorities, and how transformation can push us outside of our comfort zone. I think this is a big part of it, where Scorpio season, it helps us push us outside of our comfort zone, basically. So with the Taurus eclipse, maybe this will relate to things like our values or our desires, or whenever we're too stagnant, whenever we're too stubborn. Reaping rewards as well, to do with our finances, materials, our skills, investments, property, these types of things, of course, all those Taurus themes. And then considering as well, what is holding you back from being solid and being persistent too. So the thing is, of course, is it really does depend on like what's been happening for you over the past 2 years. This is part of a bigger story. And so, yeah, it could be that there's more of a call to actually dig your heels in further, or to be more solid, like, or to be more steady as a rock. But then it could be that there's certain parts of your life that are calling you to transform in a way, or to leave an old sort of habit, an outdated habit in the past. And then also, there was that new moon in Taurus at 28 degrees, May 2023, where we set new intentions to do with these Taurus themes, such as skills, materials, finances. This is the thing I think about it, right? Okay, this was this what my goodness. This is what is coming to my mind. I can barely talk. So, if we think about, right? We think about how there was the new moon in Taurus, May time, and if we consider Jupiter being in Taurus and the T-squares that were happening, the grand fixed cross that was happening, there's just been a lot of stagnation and a lot of waiting. Many delays have happened over the past 5 to 6 months or so. So I think that this lunar eclipse in Taurus, it's going to be a release from all of that. I think this is going to say, right, it is time to finally move forward when it comes to all of that material stuff, and to perhaps reap some rewards, or to be blessed with something new, and with a new journey, the beginning of like a new story, a new chapter, so to speak. Okay, consider how there's that conjunction to Jupiter retrograde as well. Of course, we'll talk more about it closer to the time too. Okay, that is October. So we're going to have a quick break, tea time. Eddie, you said you have South Node in Taurus and you can be lazy. Oh my gosh, right? Okay, you can be lazy. Thanks for settling that stereotype. It's funny, the whole stereotype of Taurus is lazy, and then people push back against that and they're like, no, they're not lazy. That's a stereotype. But you just said that you can be lazy, so it confirms it. Martin, you said it hangs on a wall at home. It was the timepiece, he said, on all other clocks and pocket watches too. Oh my gosh, so it's like so nostalgic. So nostalgic. Old traditional clocks. Though I must say, when it comes to the ticking of those clocks, some of them can be quite creepy. Yeah, it is, in my opinion. Danielle, you said you have a Taurus rising and you can be lazy as well. I think it's funny when it comes to certain qualities and characteristics. Because okay, sure, maybe some of them are they come from a place of not fully understanding or grasping the sign, but maybe a part of it is that when we really look within ourselves, like, yeah, I can be kind of lazy at times. That's okay. No, I'm trying to think about Aquarius. Oh yeah, okay, Aquarius with being aloof and being cold. And I remember when I first got into astrology, I was like, no, like Aquarius isn't not emotional, they're not cold, they're not aloof, you just don't understand. But then when I really think about it, it's like, yeah, I kinda can be cold. I kinda can. Yeah, when I think about it, yeah, I sort of can, when I distance myself a little bit and I go into my head, I'm like, I'm being aloof right now. Oh gosh. Ah. At A_1Y, you said just from the last slide, you're rethinking as things shook up for you in February and you saw domino effect in all that you built over 6 to 9 years. It's certainly about releasing limited thinking. Hmm. So shook up for you in February, and then like you saw like a domino effect happen in all that you built over 6 to 9 years. So does that mean that with the domino effect, were things like improving or progressing for you in terms of what was built, or is it that things were more delayed or slower? Just wonder. But I do think that, yeah, with limited thinking, that I think that's a really good point, releasing that. I think, yeah, because a big part of this year, at least for me, which is what I find, is just gratitude, practicing gratitude and counting my blessings and not taking things for granted. I think this has been even a big theme. It's like seeing where it is in our lives where we take things for granted and seeing where in our lives where it's like, you know what, I'm going to see that I'm going to focus on this and nourish this and let it grow slowly and patiently instead of, wanting loads and loads and loads and loads of something. It's just more focusing on the here and now and appreciating where we're at now, and trying to see like the beauty in things, the beauty in our surroundings, the beauty in what we already own, what we already have, and what we're already grateful for. Danielle, you said what's funny to you is the people that don't believe in astrology, but they act and are exactly like their sign for real. That's true. It's true. It happens. Oh my gosh, yeah. Do you know what? I actually have a funny story about that. It's okay. What comes to my mind? So a few years ago, this was I would say I had been into astrology for maybe 2 years about that. So I would say I didn't really know very much at that 2 year point, but I remember I was out and there was a guy there, and I was talking about astrology. And then his friend comes over and he's asking about it, and he's like trying to debate me about why it's like not real. Um, and there's the whole thing about him being a Capricorn. It just set me off. Yeah, because I just find with Capricorn energy, it can be much more skeptical. It's more of a skeptical type of energy, which is good, right? That can be good. I'm even skeptical when it comes to astrology as well, and I think my skepticism is what makes me want to learn more about it and makes me want to like investigate more information, research more information so I can know for myself. But I just thought the whole Capricorn thing was, yeah, that was quite funny, quite interesting. Um Okay, so they all just suddenly ended. Okay, they ended. So relationships, job, it's not being stagnant. It's being stagnant and a lot of self-reflection, being more, yes, 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 that is it. Exactly. Being more authentic and grateful. Yes. Not listening to the social status quo. I love it. I love it. Being more confident in what you intuitively know. Exactly. This is, oh my gosh. You communicated like what I was thinking there so beautifully. Um and yeah, I think just a lot of it has to do with just being more focused on the here and now, and not trying to like rush ahead. Oh, it's humbling. It has been humbling, I think, for sure. Danielle, you said your Christian grandfather and grandmother are both exactly like their sun signs. Oh my gosh. Yeah. When I think about people in my life as well, I'm like, yeah, my partner is definitely a Cancerian. Okay. So let's get into your horoscopes. Let's do it. Let me just look over my notes a quick second. And then we'll get into this. Now, for the horoscopes, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually no, we'll just get into it and we'll see how it goes. Right. Wait till the end for timestamps, please. If you're watching this live, just wait for the timestamps and give me a little bit of time to get them up. Oh, and happy Halloween, by the way. Happy Halloween, everyone. I just wanted to say that now because it's October, right? And I don't think I could come on. I could come on throughout October for the November horoscopes, but I still wanted to say it now because on the 31st. And yeah, so I hope you have a good spooky season ahead. Or maybe if you're somebody who just doesn't like Halloween or you're not really into it, whatever. I still hope that you have a nice holiday or a break or whatever you get up to. Happy October. I just thought the images were really cute. Okay, so let's get into this. Okay. Aries. Let's look at October for you. So, at the beginning of the month, Aries, as Mercury moves into Libra, this is going to occur in your 7th house. So, for you, Aries, I think that this is pointing toward the types of agreements that are made within your relationships, whether this be with your romantic partner or a committed partner or someone that you're doing business with. Maybe as well, there is some type of contract or an agreement that is signed here, or there is some type of deal that is negotiated, or there is a type of settlement that occurs. And then with Venus entering Virgo in your 6th house, I think that this is going to invite something more satisfying to do with your health, to do with your well-being, perhaps valuing your routines, valuing your schedules, or just making more time for the things that are somewhat more healing. So considering your well-being, considering your health, basically, valuing your health, putting your health first as well, I would say. And coming into the 2nd week of October, as Mars enters Scorpio, this is going to be in your 8th house. So with Mars entering Scorpio, I think that this is going to look at this like determination and this focus within you, this drive, this like willpower, the strength within you to want to make things happen when it comes to shared resources, when it comes to managing money, managing other people's money, looking at the types of money that you share with others. I think as well, this could look at you really taking it up a notch whenever it comes to researching, whenever it comes to investigating, whenever it comes to occult-like practices, occult-like subjects. And with Pluto also turning direct in Capricorn here in your, so that's going to happen in your 10th house. So if we think about that, the directness of Pluto in Capricorn, along with Mars being in Scorpio, I think that the shared resource stuff and the investigation stuff, even intimacy related matters, these are going to be very much tied in with your reputation, your persona. It's going to be tied in with your ability to achieve the things. So looking at even the things that you wish to accomplish in life, looking at your purpose, and just, moving forward basically with these matters. Now, coming into the third week of October, there will be a Mercury Cassimi in Libra in the 7th house. So the Mercury Cassimi in Libra perhaps can point toward effective communication then with respect to partnerships, agreements, collaborations. Though I suppose with that being said, just keep in mind the South node there as well, being in Libra, and then the North node being in Aries, and just making sure that you are quite certain about what you want, quite direct about what you want. And I know that this is you, Aries, and usually you do not have a problem with being direct with others. Then the other thing I want to say with this is Juno entering Virgo, which will happen in the 6th house for you during the 3rd week of October. So, this could even invite elements here of seeing what is meaningful to you when it comes to working relationships. Okay, looking at colleagues, just thinking about the people that you work with essentially, and also looking at people of service. To consider, is there like a nice give and take there? Is there fairness present there? And then if we turn our attention toward coming into Scorpio season, and then for the rest of the month, as there will be a Scorpio stellium happening, I think, well, basically for the first few weeks of the month, with the sun being in Libra, I think this is going to look at more of the relationship side of things, but then it's going to more move into depth and intimacy as the sun enters Scorpio, and then with the Scorpio stellium. So I think especially the Scorpio stellium, it is going to really focus in on, okay, what can we do together here? How can I overcome this? And maybe you'll even explore the subconscious more. You're going to dive deeper into your subconscious during that time period as well. Can be quite a profound time for you, quite a healing time for you. And then even with the solar eclipse happening in Libra on the 14th of October, new significant changes, powerful significant changes to do with partnership and collaborations. And then with the lunar eclipse happening in Taurus on the 20th of October, well, this is going to be where you are releasing matters related to your finances, your belongings, your security there. But this is going to be like a really significant release. I think that this is also about recognizing what you have learned over the past couple of years here to do with your finances, to do with your physical security, and even looking at your values. Okay. I am going to do something just a moment. Because give me a moment, folks, please. Okay. I seem to have made a mistake with my little sun symbols. And I'm just going to correct this with my little sun symbols. So let's see. There we go. And go here. And then as well, you said A_1Y. How long does Juno spend in each sign? Um, I think, to be honest, I can't quite remember how many weeks. It's typically like a few weeks, but the thing is that Juno will also go retrograde like 3 to 4 months of the year, about that. So yeah, it can depend. Let me just grab this information because I want my sun symbols to be in the right place. I need my sun symbols in the right place. I apologize about the delay. I do apologize. I made these. I made these a few weeks ago, and I just need my sun symbols to be in the right place. Oh, geez. You know what? I probably got was thinking with the symbols because the Virgo symbol and the Scorpio symbol look so similar. I probably I probably thought, oh yeah, okay. But it's okay. I'm changing them right now, and I will be back. I will be back in just a moment. I'm sorry for the delay, but here we are. I could just go on, couldn't I? I could just go on and say, "Oh, hey, you know what? I did not mean to put the sun symbol there. That was my mistake. Sorry." But no. Well, here I go. Here I go. I'm just changing the whole thing. Right, so let's see. Yeah. Yeah, so I would say I think Juno would spend about maybe six or 7 weeks maybe in each sign, but as I say, there is a retrograde. Juno's actually going to retrograde in Virgo more toward the end of the year. 15. Right, there we go. Hopefully we can do this and then it'll look a lot better. It'll look a lot more complete. And again, I'm sorry if you're waiting on me. Right, let's do this. There we go. Da, 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 da. Yeah. Okay. Ta-da! We're on to Taurus now. Okay. So Aries, just yeah, one of the little sun symbols was still in Virgo, but it should really be in Scorpio. But I'm sure you didn't even notice or you didn't even mind. But here I am. I still wanted to change things. Right. So that's Aries. That's your horoscope completed. Let's now move on to Taurus. Okay, Taurus. So beginning of the month. Mercury is going to enter Libra in your sixth house. So, with Mercury being in Libra in your sixth house, I think what this is going to invite is greater balance then when it comes to your routines, your schedules, your health. I think you're going to be a lot more thoughtful about your energy and about what you're consuming, your output, these types of things. I think this will invite a time to restore some balance within your life, but this is more about like your mental health, okay, your mental awareness there. And then as well, perhaps you will want to, change a few things, adapt to a few different matters related to your environment, thinking about your working environment, for example. And then with Venus entering Virgo in your fifth house that week, I think this is also going to invite you just feeling more like more more beautiful or more accepting of yourself or feeling good about yourself, just feeling nice, feeling fresh, wanting even like a fresh start or a fresh outlook, or wanting to improve upon your environment and just doing things that, the things that make you feel good, the things that light you up. And I think for you, Taurus, a lot of the times it's your self-care, it's having a routine that works well for you, that satisfies your soul a lot of the times. And then Mars will enter Scorpio the second week of October. So this will enter your seventh house, right? And so for you, there is going to be this, I would say, like a greater focus upon what your goals are. So, what your goals are within partnerships and relationships, but it's also about not really putting up with anything that doesn't serve you, that doesn't sit well with you. I think this could even be quite a confrontational time. There can be some disagreements, or having to just address the elephant in the room, having to address matters that could potentially, lead to a type of emotional explosion, for example. But maybe there's just a few things that you need to get off your chest, right? With Mars entering Scorpio there the second week of October. So there's that. But then again, it could also be that this can invite like powerful change within relationships, powerful teamwork change, powerful collaboration change, a renewal of sorts. And then with Pluto even turning direct in your ninth house there, Taurus, perhaps these collaboration changes are also somehow tied to the structures that you've been revisiting here over the past few months with respect to um, training, with respect to further learning, higher education, these types of matters. Even just looking at your deeply held beliefs and how it is that you will move forward when it comes to a certain transformation there, when it comes to a certain philosophical view. Then, with the third week of October, as Juno then enters Virgo in your fifth house, I think this is going to further add to all of the the beauty side of things, or the value side of things, the enjoyment side of things as well, where perhaps there's going to be an even greater sense of devotion, an even greater sense of dedication there. And just, yeah, maybe this is even about you really, um, it's about you really wanting to improve upon your art skills, or improve upon um, your creativity, or even looking at like romance and romantic relationships and dating, and any improvements that you wish to make there. Now, with the Mercury Cassimi, that is going to happen the third week of October, and that's going to be in your sixth house. So that Mercury Cassimi could be where you are ready to really have those intellectual, rational discussions about a promotion, or about some type of upgrade, or being somewhat more clear headed about what it is that you would like to work with, or what it is that you would like to work on, sorry, and who you would like to work with as well. Considering these things, considering your options as well, actually, what options are available to you there. And of course, with the South Node also being in Libra, just be cautious of, anybody trying to take you for granted, or any like people pleasing tendencies, or even be cautious of becoming too like lost in other people's opinions and their views. Maybe even the North Node in Aries there is inviting a time period where you can step back from any like drama or any like any voices that are just too overwhelming. What I'm getting is just a lot of noise basically happening at work, or a lot of like people's opinions interfering with what you're doing, this type of thing. So I think the North Node in Aries is just it's pointing toward how you can also keep something to yourself, keep something for yourself, to consider your own relaxation and what you need there. And so coming into Scorpio season and for the rest of the month, of course, there will be that Scorpio stellium. So things are going to intensify. And this is the thing that I was trying to get at with Aries, but then I realized that I made that mistake and then it all just went, oh my gosh. But anyway, so with the Scorpio stellium, I think that this is going to look at how things are going to intensify, okay? Intensifying with respect to what it is that you want within partnerships and collaborations and so on, thinking about business as well, really digging deep and asking yourself, what it is that you want, but then as well being honest about anything that you mean, that you're hiding or that you don't want to see, right? So the whole thing too with the Scorpio stellium is that it can look at like self-sabotage, like how are you sabotaging yourself within relationships. I think that may come up. That may be a big part of it that comes up as well for you, Taurus. So yeah, I just see October as like things will intensify more and more, and the energy is just going to build and build until there is like this huge, that kind of way. That's how I feel about October anyway. Because that all the energy is starting to build up within Scorpio, and that Scorpio energy can be so powerful. It can also be magnetic, it's not just about like this explosive eruptive energy. It's also quite powerful in that, you can make things happen, or that you can walk away from a situation, you can overcome a situation. So yes, apply what I just said there, basically, Taurus, to your partnerships, your relationships, your subconscious. Also, with the 14th of October, the solar eclipse in Libra. So with that solar eclipse in Libra, so that's going to happen in your sixth house. So powerful, like significant new changes, basically to do with work. Taurus, I wouldn't be surprised if over the next couple of years you move jobs, or you move positions, or you started a new health regime, and you started a new diet. I wouldn't be surprised if you decided to um like reinvent yourself in a way when it comes to your routines and your schedules. And then with the lunar eclipse in your sign happening here, Taurus, my gosh, like that's going to be big for you. That's going to be huge for you at the very end of the month, because over the past couple of years, there have been eclipses happening in your first and seventh houses. And with the nodes also being in these houses for you, Taurus, I think for you, you've been reevaluating where you see yourself, like looking at your life path and considering like, where do I see myself in the next coming years, and how have I expanded, and what would I like to achieve, and what is the path, what is being laid out for me, basically. And loads of changes have happened, unpredictability, of course, and many new life chapters for you, Taurus. But this is a lunar eclipse of release, like a release, shedding, leaving a certain identity pattern in the past. Okay, so moving on to Gemini. Gemini. So beginning of the month, Mercury is going to enter your fifth house there in Libra. So I think for you, Gemini, this is going to invite, like the first week, beginning of the month, it's going to invite some extra like playfulness, flirtatiousness, and maybe trying to see what you can do, how you can do something new. So just inviting something new as a way to restore the balance, especially with respect to love and romance. Even thinking about fun and play and considering the equilibrium. Where is it that maybe you've overextended, or you've you've basically put the scales off balance. So it's restoring that balance and trying to kind of think more about, right, okay, what can I do so that I can welcome greater harmony here. And then with Venus entering Virgo that same week, so that's going to be in your fourth house, I would say that this can point toward you feeling somewhat more secure within your home, you pouring many resources into your home, beautifying it, cleaning it, like a lot of cleaning here happening for you throughout October, Gemini. Yeah, looking at redecorating or looking at reorganizing or considering what needs to be polished up. Um, and then as well, I would just say with the security piece, yeah, just feelings of contentment perhaps for you with Venus transiting your fourth house, which is quite lovely to see. Now, Mars will enter Scorpio in your sixth house. So, come the second week of October, well, this is going to point toward how, oh my gosh, like, well, I think that this can be where there's a lot of energy output coming up for you, a lot of energy output when it comes to work, when it comes to your services, especially considering how you can be a leader, how you can be like a go getter, but of course, moving in ways that are very strategic, but also moving in ways that are powerful. But the other thing about this is just considering the extremes with Scorpio as well. And then, too, I would say the focus and drive that goes into your health. Pluto will then also turn direct in Capricorn in your eighth house. So perhaps the the strength and the power that's going into all of the work stuff is also connected in with investments, shared resources, shared accounts, loans, debts, like paying something off, for example. It's like, okay, I need to work really, really hard here because I have to pay off this loan. That's just one example. But yeah. Third week. So coming into the third week of October. So Juno, of course, will enter Virgo. By the way, I just want to say I have not included the asteroids or Lilith here. Martin, you did say where is Lilith? I've not included them on this sheet, on the sheet, the illustration. It was more so planetary shifts, but I just felt called to throw in Juno there. So there's no Lilith in this one, but perhaps more information to come about Lilith. But anyway, so with Juno entering Virgo, I think that this is going to bring forward some more energy then to do with home and family and looking at those bonds, committed bonds, meaningful bonds, looking at even how you may have like more people over at your house. I'm just sort of getting with Venus and Juno just being somewhat more social with family members, perhaps. And then with Mercury, the Mercury Cassimi happening in Libra in your fifth house, the third week of October, this could be where there is something very creative that comes up, like a big idea, or this could be where you feel called to communicate with a lover or even a close friend about a creative idea that you have or a creative project that you're working on, maybe collaborating with them on a creative project. And with the south node as well being in Libra, with the north node being in Aries, I would just say for you, Gemini, just to be cautious of how much you kind of, what's the word? I would say to be cautious of maybe blending too much in with the crowd, so to speak. And what I'm trying to get at is just remember to also take the lead every now and then within friendships, within teams, within groups, networks, etc. Try and like push yourself to take the lead because all that Libra energy in the fifth opposite, it could be where it almost feels as if you're overwhelmed by everybody else's like creative stuff or their own individuality, their egos, etc. Um, and then with the rest of the month, so coming toward the end of the month with Scorpio season, there will be that Scorpio stellium. So what will intensify for you, Gemini, is all of the practical matters, the health related matters. I think what's going to intensify is how much you're going to transform then with respect to your services as well. You may even just like surprise yourself by how much you overcome this Scorpio season. So essentially, you're going to be going from shining a light more on fun and play and forms of enjoyment with Libra there, but you're going to go from that to then shining a light more on um how you are going to transform work wise. And then with the solar eclipse happening in Libra on the 14th of October, okay, new significant changes occurring for you. This could be where some Gemini, you get engaged or you fall pregnant, children with the fifth house. It could be that some Gemini, you find a new passion, a new hobby. And then with the lunar eclipse in Taurus occurring here in your 12th house at the very end of the month, well, I think for you, this can even feel like a huge release, because with the eclipses happening in your 12th and 6th houses over the past couple of years, perhaps you find that like you've needed more time to rejuvenate, you've needed more time to be on your own and to relax. And yes, whilst all these things have perhaps been quite therapeutic and healing and helpful, etc., maybe this eclipse is sort of saying, okay, this is a big release, but the eclipses are now going to start to happen in Aries and Libra. So you're going to be a bit more social or active from here on. Okay, so I'm just having a bit of water. Okay. Scorpio or Cancer. Cancer. So for you, Cancer, looking at the first week of October, so the very beginning of the month, Mercury will be in Libra in your fourth house. So for you, Cancer, I think that the first week of October is going to invite just more socializing then with family members. Perhaps as well, you start to think more about where you wish to live, where you wish to settle down. And if you have already settled down somewhere, it could be that there's just some changes to be performed throughout the house. Okay, looking even at these new beginnings even tied to home and family for you, Cancer, if we even consider the solar eclipse in Libra there too, which we'll get to in just a moment. But yeah, a lot of this family related stuff coming to the surface here for you. And then Venus entering Virgo, which will be in your third house. Yeah, I mean, I see this as you like valuing your neighborhood, valuing the everyday, valuing the little things, um, even appreciating just small talk conversations with people, and perhaps as well wanting to have intellectually enjoyable conversations with others, where you can challenge your mind a little bit, or where you can just find out more information. Just, yeah, learning more, basically, learning more. Then coming into the second week of October, Mars will enter Scorpio in your fifth house. So I would say for you, Cancer, okay, though, well, this can look at possibly you being somewhat more determined when it comes to hobbies, when it comes to any forms of enjoyment and entertainment, anything that you like to do, any passions that you have, okay? It's like, right, okay, I'm focused. I wanna get into this. I feel driven. But it could also be where you have a desire to have a child or you to have more children. Yeah, or that you pour your heart into your children basically, right? You want to like spend more time with them or you want to experience more with them. Then Pluto direct will happen in your 7th house. So it does appear as if the things related to fun and hobbies, play, children, this type of stuff, maybe it's also tied in with how you will be moving forward to how you will be moving forward with respect to agreements and contracts. It could be that something you've been waiting on for a long time here, like professionally, business wise, it's finally on the move for you, Cancer. And so this thing could of course be tied to a partnership situation, an agreement situation, a settlement of some kind. And it's like, yes, okay, time to finally move forward with that. And all of those like building blocks will be in place as well. Perhaps you even planned a lot, you prepared a lot throughout the past few months. Then coming into the 3rd week of October, so with Juno entering Virgo there as well, this is only going to add to like the appreciation that you have for just everyday conversation and even just catching up with people, filling them in on what's going on in your life. And I just think it as well, this could be it could be a vehicle situation or a transport situation. That's what's coming to my mind here in terms of repairing or making it look clean or feeling more inspired to want to learn how to drive or taking a new route basically to work or a new route to get to those places that you visit every day. Okay. And then with Mercury, the Mercury Kasimi happening in your 4th house as well. I think this is going to be quite profound for you then with respect to family. And yeah, it could even be here that you want to live closer to certain family members, or it's that you feel more positive about family, like you feel that things are more harmonious or people are on the same page, this type of stuff. That's a possibility. But then again, of course, the South Node is also in Libra. So it could be that there's like a lot of hearsay or there's a lot of gossip or there's just so much activity going on. So with that being said, maybe you even feel this like need or this pressure or this calling to focus a lot on your career as well or to focus more on what you're doing professionally too, Cancer. Just maybe it's like there's so much you need to do in order to support your family, so you're turning your attention toward the work stuff, the professional stuff, as a way to provide. That's sort of what I'm getting from this. And coming into Scorpio season, then we've been kind of going with this theme of things intensifying, right? So things intensifying. So, what will intensify for you, I think, throughout October as we move into Scorpio season is all of the child stuff, okay? The child related things we were talking about, romantic related themes as well. This could even be where you feel a greater calling to reconnect with your lover, with your romantic partner more, and it's more about exploring intimacy. It's reconnecting with the intimacy. It's focusing more on how you can enjoy pleasure together, and at the same time this is not just about physical intimacy. This is also about emotional intimacy. This is about feeling connected spiritually too. Then with that being said, of course, with Libra season, so throughout October, throughout Libra season, shining a light more on, oh my gosh, I mean, so much going on there within home. So within your home, when it comes to family, even when it comes to your emotional needs, feeling like you're being pulled in all sorts of directions, right? But from going from that to shining a light on then the passionate stuff, even making time for yourself, right? That could be a possibility, right? So making time for yourself, Cancer, throughout October, because it's just been all about other people for a large part of it, for a large portion of October. So coming toward the end of October, maybe you think, you know what, I just want to put myself first. I just want to do the things that I enjoy. I want to reconnect with all those childlike things. And with the solar eclipse happening in Libra, my gosh, Cancer, what does this suggest? Like, this suggests a new home. This suggests relocating, moving to a different country. This suggests marriage, okay? Marrying your partner. What else does this suggest for significant new changes for you, Cancer? Um, this also suggests you reestablishing yourself when it comes to your emotional needs and breaking even certain emotional cycles there too. And then there's that lunar eclipse in Taurus, which will happen in your 11th house. So this is going to be quite a huge release then when it comes to your friends, your networks, your communities. Maybe something very rewarding here is upon the horizon. Okay. And yeah, so for the past couple of years, you've been building a lot, you've been growing a lot when it comes to your networks and your teams. And so this is a time period where perhaps things are going to come, like things are going to accumulate, and it's like, yes, we've made it, or there is a big release. So that should be exciting for you. Okay. So I'm just going to take a moment. I want to read. Let's see. Let's see. Brittany, hello, Brittany. Welcome to these horoscopes today. Hope you're doing well. And Eddie, you said this was a big year for Taurus from all the eclipses happening. Yes, it has been quite a big year for Taurus. I mean, if you think about if you have any Taurus placements, consider those changes that have happened with the North Node being in Taurus, with the eclipses. Tony, you say you also have your moon in Capricorn. Martin, you've massive. You said, oh gosh, right, okay. You've spent the last 18 months with the lunar nodes in Scorpio Taurus polarity. Yeah. Yeah. You've got an opposite Eddie. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. So go. Sorry, just give me one moment. I feel like what I might do is I might do Aries again at the end. I might do that because I feel as if I didn't give them enough information. I didn't give you enough information, Aries. And I don't want to leave you out with not as much information as everybody else. It was my mistake for the whole getting the sun mixed up. But I'm sure you will forgive me. I'm sure you'll forgive me. Okay, so let's move on to Leo. So Leo, at the very beginning, let me just come out of this. Leo, at the very beginning of October, so looking at the first week of October for you, Mercury in Libra will be in your 3rd house. So, yeah, beginning October for you, Leo, I think invites your ability to be diplomatic, your ability to be rational, your ability to be somewhat more harmonious within discussions, and even looking at your ability to play devil's advocate at times. I think, often you can play devil's advocate. And I think as well, you're quite good at sort of seeing the flip side of a situation. It's like you can see a situation from one angle, but you can also see it from a different angle. So I think that yeah, these Mercury and Libra can invite these qualities. Then with Venus entering Virgo in your second house, this can be quite a pleasing, rewarding time for you with respect to your earnings, right? Your security, any skills you have, any sort of business plans that you have as well, and what you're creating there. Looking also at your organizational skills. So yeah, this could be where you put certain systems in place, which can be quite rewarding for you, beneficial for you. Then looking to the second week of October, so with Mars entering your fourth house, Leo, well, I think that this is going to invite, well, for one, it could be certain power struggles, basically. So power struggles within your family life, even looking at confronting your own emotions in a way, or having to deal with your emotions, perhaps is a better way to put it. And then I would also say that this can be like a powerful time for you with respect to what you get done within the home, right? It could be that you feel really focused, you can concentrate your energy very well, you can focus in on certain home tasks, and even just looking at your privacy. Perhaps this is a time period where you feel a greater push to be in private, to put yourself first in this way, just to more look at your home life and your family life. And it's not necessarily about showing all of this stuff to the world. So then with Pluto as well being direct in Capricorn in your sixth house, well, it could be that the goals that you direct your energy toward within the home and when it comes to family, they are somehow linked in with either your health or your work or your services. So this could be a whole situation where you feel like you need to go into, like, you need your private space to get yourself to a certain level where you feel ready. So, you feel ready health wise, you feel more like you can accomplish things. You can strive for better things, or you can push yourself further in a way. Yeah, to me it just seems like you need a minute to sort of reserve your energy. You need that minute, those few days or even a couple of weeks, and then it's like, right, okay, I'm ready to move forward with this plan or with this strategy. But yeah, I think this can be even where you feel really fueled. It's like you feel fueled, you feel fired up, you feel determined to want to make things happen in this respect. But again, such things are linked in with work. This is what I'm getting from this. Um, then also, oh, and I'd also say as well, wanting to push things forward, to move things forward when it comes to coworkers too, colleagues. So thinking about the people you work with there. Coming into the third week of October, of course, Juno will enter Virgo in your second house. So yeah, I think that this can invite some type of commitment when it comes to your security and your resources. I think this can invite some type of dedication there, to a certain system or a plan. This can even further look at just you feeling even more valued or valuing yourself. Mercury Cassimi then as well will be in your fourth house. So that Mercury Cassimi in your fourth house, or sorry, your third house, my apologies. The Mercury Cassimi in your third house, the third week of October, I think can highlight just how you can use your effective communication as a way to collaborate, as a way to join forces with others. I think it can invite really good, like, decision making. where you've considered all approaches, you've considered information from all angles, and so whenever you make certain decision, it's going to come from a place of like inner knowing and clarity. So that can be perhaps quite beneficial for you. And then with the South Node also being in Libra, the thing about this as well is I would just say to consider that whenever you gather too much feedback from people, often what can happen is it can lead to more indecision, perhaps. So I would say with this one to consider as well how the North Node is in Aries. So to also think about your personal beliefs, right? Your deeply held beliefs, and to think about the wider vision, your wider message. And yes, so basically what I'm trying to say is that yes, feedback from other people can be useful when it comes to your decision making, but just also realize that too much feedback can just create more indecision and possibly confusion, because like, well, which way do I turn then? I don't know. And I've asked so many people, or I've tried getting help from other people, and I'm just back at square one. This is what I'm getting from this energy. Now, with that being said, of course, the energy is going to intensify. So, with the energy intensifying, it's going to start to build in your fourth house. So, maybe for you, Leo, I think this can look at how your family life is going to be quite a vocal point, or a point of concern perhaps, or looking here at your own personal emotional transformations that you're going to be experiencing, that you're going to be going through. And it's just taking that space, taking that time to like go through those motions, to ride those emotional waves, as kind of like intense as they may be. But this is also about your inner strength, your inner power. This is about you overcoming a situation that perhaps is quite limiting or self defeating. Again, looking at the whole self sabotage stuff to do with Scorpio. And then there is that overcoming part of it as well that can step in. There's the renewal, the release. Now, there will be that solar eclipse in Libra on the 14th of October. So, this will happen in your third house. So, what could this look like? Significant new chapters to do with vehicles, okay, like a new car or a new form of transport, or a new route to somewhere that you usually visit, or relocating within your neighborhood, or moving to a completely different neighborhood. Okay, so these are all different, like, big new chapter moments that could very well happen for you. And by the way, I'm not saying that this is all going to happen on the day of the solar eclipse. I just want to clarify that for everybody. This, yeah, it could be over the space of a couple of years. Okay, and then the 28th of October, the lunar eclipse in Taurus as well. So this is going to happen in your 10th house. So already things have been shifting and changing for you, Leo, when it comes to your professional life. You've seen significant, powerful new changes there, where perhaps you have started to see greater responses, more customers, promotions, greater success, greater reward, greater achievements, all these things. So I would say that with the lunar eclipse happening here in your 10th house, this is going to point to a renewal, a release, shedding old habits, and even just giving thanks for what you have obtained and learned over the past couple of years. Okay, Virgo. So, Virgo, let's begin by looking at Mercury in Libra. So, at the very beginning of the month, the first week of October, Mercury will be in your second house. So, I think that your financial position is going to be on your mind, okay? Your personal earnings, your personal spending habits, how you budget, how you save, how you spend, these things are going to be on your mind, Virgo. And I think that you're going to want to restore balance and equilibrium with respect to these areas. And you're going to really consider as well your security. and what will make you feel satisfied, even in a secure sense, okay? And what will make you feel satisfied when it comes to your values, when it comes to your skills and your talents and your gifts, and how you share your skills and talents with the world there as well. Um, but then with Venus even entering your first house this week, well, the beginning of the month, basically, I think that, well, you may feel more secure within yourself. You may feel more beautiful. You may like yourself a lot more. You may even be a lot more forgiving toward yourself for making any errors or making any mistakes. I know, Virgo, that you can really beat yourself up whenever you make any little mistake. I mean, very much an example of that there. I needed to move that sun symbol all the way around, and that could have just been left like that. But Virgo is that type of energy where it's like it just cannot sit like that. It needs to be perfect. It's this whole thing with Virgo. So yeah, I think the Venus here entering your sign, Virgo, it's going to point toward how, you know what, you can just leave certain things, and it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to make little errors. And as well, valuing yourself, right? Valuing your capabilities, believing in your potential, believing in what you have to offer the world, charging what you know you should be charging for in terms of the work that you've put into something and the effort that you've put into something. I think as well, this is looking at your identity. Okay, so valuing who you are basically, or valuing the things that you wish to achieve in life as well. So looking at your life path, looking at your aims and your goals. Um and then the other thing with this is, with the second coming into the second week of October, Mars will enter Scorpio in your third house. So for you, Virgo, there's going to be much focus that's put onto or into your mind, learning more, reading into things more, investigating, doing more research, which I think can be really interesting for you. I think you'll really enjoy that. So yeah, using your intellect a lot more to dive deep and to go beneath the surface. Now, Pluto will turn direct in your fifth house here in Capricorn. So perhaps the research stuff that I've been talking about, it's somehow tied into your creativity. It's tied in with your hobbies, your interests. It's tied into the things that you do as a form of enjoyment. And then coming into the third week of October for you, Virgo, Juno, of course, will enter Virgo as well. So, Virgos, it could be that some of you form commitment, like there's greater commitment basically within relationships. It could be that you feel even more secure within your relationships because of your ability to accept yourself, possibly. And then with the Mercury Cassimi being in Libra, so this will happen in the third week of October. That's going to happen in your second house. So consider here what decisions you'll be making when it comes to your finances. Any decisions that come from a place of good judgment, good discernment, clarity, possibly even asking for some type of assistance from an advisor, or looking at certain investments that you wish to make and just being very certain, because you've made sure that you've covered all areas. But again, with the Libra energy, this can also point toward just too much indecision as well. That's the other thing with all the Libra energy, so much indecision, like back and forth, weighing the pros versus the cons, and maybe even convincing yourself of certain things, or reading too much into the other side of the coin. So I think the North Node in Aries is saying, right, just make the decision, just get to it. And I think even the North Node in Aries is looking at how it is that you can practice greater confidence in and what I mean by that is confidence in your decision making, confidence in yourself. It's like make the decision and just go with it and try not to overthink it, try not to read into it too much. Just bite the bullet and do it, that kind of way. Okay, so what I further want to say here is that coming into Scorpio season, the energy is going to intensify in that there's going to be a Scorpio stellium in your third house. I'm looking at this as many Virgos just being these like typing board. Is it typing board? Oh my gosh. Typing board like demons. And what I mean by this is like writing a freaking book in the space of 3 weeks. This is what I'm getting from this energy. It's just this I am so freaking dedicated to writing this, and I'm just going to do it, right? That's it. This is what I'm getting from this. Side note, I have been learning that there are many authors who have like major Virgo placements. I just want to say that. J.K. Rowling, Virgo Moon, George R.R. Martin, Virgo Sun, Stephen King, Virgo Sun, J.R.R. Tolkien, Virgo Rising. That Virgo energy with if you also think about Scorpio in the third house, it's just like, right, okay, what do you need to break down? What do we need to write here? You go for it. So yeah, for you Virgo, it could be that there's just a lot going on here for you intellectually, communicatively, in research ways, investigation ways, very much intensified. Just be cautious of overthinking, be cautious of ruminating, be cautious of reading just too much into things and then fixating, okay, where like you you go over and over and over the same point and you get nowhere. Okay, solar eclipse then happening in second house for you on the 14th of October, Virgo. So with the solar eclipse, I think, okay, well, this can suggest something very new coming up for you to do with property, to do with your belongings, to do with your security position, your financial position. Um, Again, like I was saying earlier, it's not necessarily on the 14th itself, but yeah, new significant chapters basically coming up. Also matters to do with your talents. So a new gift, a new talent, or being rewarded for a gift or talent that you possess, gaining feedback for it. And with the lunar eclipse happening in Taurus on the 20th of October at the very end of the month, okay, so this is going to happen in your ninth house. I would say that there is a type of release here coming up with respect to publishing, broadcasting, with respect to teaching, sharing, and really looking at the bigger message of what you share with the world. Okay, so we're on to Libra. Whew, halfway there, everyone. I hope you're enjoying these so far. Libra. So, beginning of the month for you, so looking at the first month, a lot is going on for you, Libra, this month. Like, my gosh, you're probably one of the biggest stars of the show this month because there's a solar eclipse happening, right? And in your sign, the south node is there. So, it's on that axis, the nodal axis. Anyway, so Mercury in Libra will happen then at the beginning of the month. So, the first week here looks at how there is a new chapter to do with your identity. Essentially, there's a new chapter to do with your appearance. There is something here to do with applications, contracts, agreements, settlements, business deals, something very new, essentially. And then with Venus in Virgo happening in your 12th house, well, I see this, Libra, as you taking some time behind the scenes to get things in order, okay? Taking some time perhaps away from the public as a way to reorganize your space, as a way to readjust and make improvements, cleaning, polishing things up, going over the system, going over a different method, different strategies, different approaches. Yeah, new forms of like application. But yeah, all very much behind the scenes. And then the second week of October with Mars in Scorpio, I think here this is looking at a, I would say, greater drive and focus with respect to your personal finances. Perhaps there's a rebuilding phase happening for you, or there is something that you wish to put your money into, you want to invest. Yeah, I'm getting new investment goals. I'm thinking here about a a financial situation that can be transformative. And then with the same token, Pluto direct in Capricorn, this stuff I'm talking about is somehow tied to your home. It's tied to your living situation, it's tied to your family, and perhaps also looking at anything that you wish to release. Even, of course, Scorpio season can be a time of release and shedding too. So it can be a time of release with respect to family relationships. Okay, the third week of October, so Juno will enter Virgo as well in the 12th house. So this is going to add even more of this desire to want to go behind the scenes. But I think this is also looking at your meaningful bonds and relationships. And perhaps also what I would say with this one, Libra, is with the relationship side of things, maybe there are a few significant conversations that need to be had so that you can feel more secure and you can feel a greater sense of calmness within your relationship. So that's what I'm going to say about that. Mercury can see me as well in Libra. So that's going to happen in your first house. So the third week of October is going to invite then like really quick, like quick and to the point um communication, but still in rational, fair, diplomatic ways, of course. But yeah, it's almost like, right, okay, this is exactly it. This is exactly what needs to be said, or this is the decision that needs to be made here. But then, of course, wherever Libra is, this can also look at like, oh, you're going back and forth, but it's still that Kazemi energy that makes it like more of a bite. It invites more of a bite. It's more of a potency. So still, I would say with this, with the South Node being in Libra and then the North Node being in Aries, um, I, I think I think perhaps this could be where it's it's being able to like be truthful with yourself about, or honest with yourself about what appearance, like about your appearance, about how you come across, about what the next step is. So you've sort of, what I'm getting from this is you've reached some type of point. Okay, you've reached a reward, a success, an achievement, but now you're at a stage where, well, now what? This is what I'm getting from this. It's like, well, now what? And maybe the North Node in Aries is sort of saying, okay, maybe it's about looking to the shadow part of yourself and going, okay, how can you be more of a pioneer here? How can you be somewhat more independent now? Especially regarding relationships, especially regarding partnerships. I even see this as like a new potential job or a new position, a new title, um possibly like looking at children or family here. We think about the first house, it's tied to identity in general, so that of course can be tied to career, it can be tied to family, it can be tied to relationships. So it could really play in many different ways for you, Libra. But I just think there's something very substantial about the identity piece and about your goals, your aims, your life path, about how you approach new situations, about what you want out of life. And that also ties into, I think that also ties into the solar eclipse happening in Libra as well. Okay, so with the rest of the month, so coming into the rest of the month with Scorpio season, things will intensify for you with respect to the second house. So yeah, I would say that a lot of energy is starting to accumulate and build within the house pertaining to your belongings and your possessions. And yeah, basically just thinking about what it is that you own and how it is that you wish to like obtain those things, or how it is that you will go through these renewals when it comes to such things. Okay. And maybe as well, it's like trying to remind yourself of being just like you deserve a certain accomplishment, or you deserve a certain reward, because I think with you, Libra, sometimes you can self-sabotage, like you can sabotage your values, or you can read too much into things and think, oh, I don't deserve this, or um maybe I was too this or that. But yeah, perhaps for you it's being able to sit in a new situation, in a new landscape, and to say, I am worthy of this. I've made it. And it's like appreciating or valuing what you have in this way. So then, yeah, like I said, with the solar eclipse in Libra, that's going to happen in your sign in the first house on the 14th of October, and then with the 20th of October, it's going to happen in. So the lunar eclipse is going to happen in Taurus in your 8th house. So what this speaks to for you, Libra, is it looks at the shared resource stuff. Okay, other people's finances, your partner's money. It looks at how you and your partner combine your materials and your resources there. So a big release there happening. And again, thinking about the past couple of years and how much you and your partner, or you and others, have pushed to achieve. And you know what? It could also be where there is an intimate relationship, or an intimacy matter that comes up. Thinking about vulnerability, thinking about your own mental health, your emotional health as well, and anything that you wish to like get off your chest with a loved one, or with someone that's close to you. Considering as well all of the emotional stuff basically beneath the surface, Libra, because often you find it hard to talk about like that emotional stuff, especially if it seems like too uncomfortable or too ugly. Yeah, I think for you it's looking at how you can be somewhat honest enough with yourself to know that you want to get it off your chest, or you want some type of help. You want to be supported through a difficult situation. The eighth house can be a challenging house to navigate sometimes. Okay, so Martin, you said you said Cassimi is shadow. Yeah, I can see that with the shadow, because the Mercury and the Sun. Um, but then I would also say that because there's like so close, it can create like a quickness, like a bite. At least that's just how I sense, like that's how I see it, like a biting point almost. But yeah, I would definitely say that there can be greater introspection in that way. Yeah, it's good to reflect too. Good afternoon, April. Hi. You're watching from Edmonton in Alberta, Canada. Cool. Welcome. Welcome to you. Okay, so let's move on to Scorpio. Scorpio. All right. So beginning the month for you, Scorpio, there is going to be this Mercury and Libra energy, right, in your 12th house. So this is very much about, okay, Libra season, Mercury here, even the solar eclipse. This is about your spiritual values, your spiritual practices. I see this as you seeking to spend more time alone, even during the month of October, going into hibernation, so to speak. Even Mercury in Libra here is inviting some time just to silence your mind a little bit, meditation, journaling, getting outside, these types of things. Venus in Virgo then in your 11th house highlights just the amount of gains that you're going to accumulate, or like the attention that you're going to get from friends, or the love that you're going to get, the appreciation that you're going to get from friends in your communities. They just, you're going to feel the love, basically, Scorpio. This is what I'm getting from this. Even with Juno entering Virgo the third week of October, I see this as bonds happening, like committed bonds, meaningful relationships happening, feeling like there's unity, feeling a greater sense of commitment and devotion within your communities and your team. So we really like to see this for you, Scorpio, I think. Even just thinking about like how you're going to be valued for the work that you do, and how you're going to be seen and appreciated for the work that you do. Perhaps as well compensated for the work that you do, Scorpio. Now, with Mars entering your first house, my gosh, Scorpio, this is a really powerful month for you. Okay? Because Mars entering your first house in your sign, home in your sign, I just want to say that the second week of October, like no one is stopping you basically this month, Scorpio. No one is stopping you from your dreams. No one is stopping you from your aims, your goals, from the things that you want to achieve in life. This is a month where it's about your desires. It's even about your deepest desires. This is about making things happen because you feel called to make them happen. But at the same time, showing compassion and empathy to the people who support you and show you love along the way. Like, you can be such loving people, especially when people are they're within your inner circle. When you're committed to someone or something, my gosh, yeah, you'll pour your all into it, or you will pour your all into that relationship. So Mars and Scorpio can be really rewarding in this way. And then Pluto direct in your third house. Oh yeah, this is like, okay, it is time to communicate with authority, and it's time to communicate in a way where people respect you. And you have been revisiting your structures with respect to communication, basically, and like thinking about how, I want people to respect me. I want them to take me seriously. So, Pluto direct there in your third house is going to invite you moving forward with such matters, and how such matters are also linked to this goal driven part of you, with Mars in your first house. Now, we did just touch on Juno in Virgo there, of course. Okay, so we'll move on to Mercury, because the Mercury Cassimi in Libra. Okay, so yeah, I think this further adds to the whole resting of your mind, especially during the Mercury Cassimi. Just, yeah, take some time out, take some time to journal, take some time to dream, take some time to be on your own, away from your phone, away from the hustle and bustle of the world, looking at just retreating for a little bit, just anything to help calm your mind, um, and anything you need to seek greater balance, basically, behind the scenes as well. Now, with the South Node, of course, being in Libra too, the tricky thing I think with this is, of course, consider how the North Node is in Aries too. So we're talking here about rest, and we're talking here about going behind the scenes. But the North Node in Aries also suggests how much you're going to be front and center. It suggests how much you're working on your goals when it comes to your work, when it comes to your passions, your services. So, I would say that yes, this is still a month where it's about, okay, time to consider your relaxation and so on. But I think you can also perhaps get caught up in, oh well, this person needs me, that person needs me. Oh, I gotta go do this, gotta do this, and then all of the sort of indecision can happen with the Libra thing, the going back and forth, or feeling like you need to be there for everybody. So yeah. Martin, you said their alignment. So yeah, I think that could be perhaps quite a good word. Aligning yourself, looking at equilibrium, essentially, looking at greater harmony, essentially. Okay, so for the rest of the month, the Scorpio stellium. Okay, so that Scorpio stellium is going to be in your first house. So indeed, things are going to intensify for you, right? I think that there's going to be so much energy that goes into um all of like the work stuff, the goal stuff, your aims, your life path, your identity, what you're building, how you're growing, what you're learning. Like the first house is so much about, um, all of those things that we set out to do and the things that we really wish to achieve. And it's so much about our identity. So you may find that you're just like overwhelmed by it all, but at the same time I would say inspired. You're inspired, you're motivated, you even feel like fueled, fired up, and you're ready to go. Woohoo. So yeah. Then the other thing with this is with the 14th of October, the solar eclipse in Libra will happen. Okay, so what does this suggest? I think that this can look at serious new chapters and beginnings to do with your spiritual values, rest, looking at your forms of relaxation, looking at even sleep, something very, very changeable to do with your sleep. And then possibly as well, looking at, well, it could be that you travel to foreign lands, somewhere really far, over the next few years, over the next few years, somewhere that you've always dreamt of going to, you've wanted to go to for a long time. And then with the 28th of October, lunar eclipse in Taurus happening, okay, Scorpio. Over the past couple of years, right, there have been significant new changes occurring within your house of relationships. So this could be a bit of like a renewal where things accumulate, right? Everything accumulates, and then boom, you decide to, could be marriage, right? A marriage proposal. It could be a business offer. It could be the start of a new agreement, like a new contract that's signed between you and someone, but it's more related to property, possibly. Of course, money comes into it as well. And possibly as well, looking at a release with respect to a skill that you have, like even the skill of somebody else, a skill of a colleague or the skill of a partner, and how you and that person can like blend together or collaborate together. Right. Sagittarius. What I'll do is I'll leave. So Aries has still had, you've still had your horoscope, Aries. And then what I'll do is I'll wait till the very, very end, and then I'll just add a couple of things. So I'll put the two parts for you, Aries. Right, Sagittarius, let's get into this. Sagittarius, beginning of the month, first week of October, Mercury in Libra in your 11th house. Okay, so what shifts are coming up for you? I think for you, Sagittarius, there will be decisions made when it comes to your networks, when it comes to your communities and your teams. I think that this is about you being a bit of a mediator, especially this month. I think this is about you trying to understand where other people are coming from. And then as well, I think this is about you gaining feedback, gaining answers from friends, from group members, and seeking to harmonize conversations within groups and communities. Now, with Venus being in your 10th house as well, I think that this invites greater like beauty or harmony or likability, relatability within the career sphere, within the professional sphere. I think this can suggest that you feel somewhat valued as an authority, as an expert, as a professional, or it could be that you get along with professionals, especially this month. There's even some type of likability amongst the public, where you feel like people notice you, people see you, they admire you, they want to be around you. Even with Juno entering Virgo here the third week of October, this could be where there is some type of new opportunity coming up, a new opportunity um to do with commitment. Now, like I was also saying there earlier, Juno will retrograde throughout the year. I will talk more about this. I will talk more about this in a future video, but um I just want to clarify that there will be that retrograde. So with Juno, we are talking about October here, but there's more to come with Juno, essentially is what I'm trying to say. Still, this Juno energy can invite greater commitment there within work. Something professional where it's like, right, okay, this is the new rule, this is the new position, or this is how much money I want to make within this position, for example. Okay, second week of October, then Mars will enter Scorpio. This will be in your 12th house, Sagittarius. So, with the Mars energy in Scorpio, I feel as if this is a good time period for you to investigate behind the scenes. I think this is a good time period for you to consider like your energy levels and consider extremes. So, any extremes that you can go to when it comes to your energy levels, and just to bring some type of awareness to them. Okay, just take some time to yourself, go behind the scenes, see what works for you, feel it out. Basically, Sagittarius, re strategize. Maybe this is a good time period to really re strategize in terms of your goals here. Out of sight, out of sight. And with Pluto direct in the second house for you, I think that this can invite greater forward movement with respect to your finances and your resources. So anything that you've been waiting on here with respect to your finances, it's like, right, okay, it's ready to start building again, or it's ready to start moving forward with this situation that I've been building on for so long. And maybe this is also linked to all of the stuff that you've been doing behind the scenes as well, right? So, like re-strategizing a business plan, for example, okay, going over a business plan, going over some sort of new strategy that it aligns with finances, belongings, your security. Okay, so with the third week of October, we've touched on Juno and Virgo. The Mercury Cassimi here in Libra for you, Sagittarius. Okay, I think this can highlight just almost having the nerve, like have the audacity, the audacity, the power, the strength to get the answers that you need from friends, or gaining some type of useful feedback so that you can make a decision within a group of yours. Okay, looking at teams as well. So, yeah, getting feedback from the team, getting new information, new insights, which can be useful to you. Now, with that, of course, the South Node being in the 11th house and then the North Node being in the 5th house. So, I would say just to also try not to get too lost in other people's opinions. This is the theme, I think, with too much Libra. It's like too much feedback, too many options, too much this or that. So the North Node is also saying to be somewhat decisive as well in this. And to even just consider your individuality in this, your own independence in this. Okay, so for the rest of the month, the Scorpio stellium will start to occur. So intensity, of course, we've been saying this throughout these horoscopes. The intensity is growing. The intensity is building throughout Scorpio season for you, for all of us. But for you, Sagittarius, in your 12th house, it could be that you get to the end of the month and you're just like, oh my gosh, I just want to go to bed. I just want to rest my head. I just need time to myself. I need away for a little while. I just need to relax, okay? And it's like, I need this like really, really intensely, basically. Okay. Just whatever you need to feel your soul, okay? To feel good. But the only thing I would say with this as well is just to be cautious of like ruminating or just brooding, or maybe spending too much time alone where you can like push everybody away. But then again, maybe it is that you need that because your energy is just so like zapped, potentially, Sagittarius. Right, so solar eclipse in Libra is going to happen on the 14th of October in your 11th house. Okay, so what does this suggest? This can suggest like new chapters, new beginnings to do with a social circle, to do with clubs, right? A new club, a new group, um, a community that you're a part of, a new community that you join, a new network that you join. Could also be like a new hope or a new wish of yours that starts to unfold, right? A new dream. And then on the 20th of October, this lunar eclipse in Taurus is going to occur. So I think this is looking at a big release then with respect to your health, for one. Okay, so consider the past couple of years, right? So with the eclipses happening in the eclipses in Taurus in the 6th house for you, and then the North Node being in Taurus, I think that it has pointed toward how things have just changed so drastically for you with respect to your routines, your schedules. Like, for example, time off work, or sudden changes to do with work, or suddenly you are super, super busy at work and things are just so unpredictable. But basically, this lunar eclipse in Taurus is going to point toward a bit of a release, right? Something that is released and lessons learned as well. So finishing up a few matters there. Hello, David. Welcome. How are you? Happy 1st of October. I love the little bat. It's spooky season. Woo. How are you doing? Tony. Let me see, Tony. You said you're a Sagittarius? Or is it... Let me go down here. Oh boy, here we go. Yes, good Sagittarius forecast. Yay. You said your phone chose to lose connection right now. Oh no, you've been waiting for the Sagittarius reading. You'll need to rewind. Oh my gosh, so annoying. But hopefully you got it. But yeah, the information will be here for after. Alexander, yes, still live. I know, still live. This is probably going to be the longest live I've ever done. We're going. Come on, we got this. We got this. We can do this. I've only got 3 left. It's all good. Okay, Capricorn, let's do this. I'm glad you're back now, Tony. You know, when I do these horoscopes, it's like, oh my gosh, I get to like Leo, Virgo, and then I think, oh my gosh, these are so long, because these are monthly forecasts, right? Have an espresso. I wanted to have an espresso, but I didn't have an espresso because I do not want to be wired tonight. I do not want to be awake before I go to bed. I want to be relaxed. Okay? I want to be relaxed. But you know what? I just keep going, and I always feel amazing after. Like, I love doing these. They're long ones, but they're worth it, and I love what I do so much. I do not ever want to take it for granted. Okay, Capricorn, let's do this. Capricorn, beginning of the month, first week of the month for you. So much happening for you within this 10th house arena, Capricorn. So Mercury in Libra will occur in your 10th house. And so I think that this is looking at how you may have just more of a diplomatic approach toward employers or managers or bosses. I think this could be where you're going to be somewhat rational and level-headed about what you wish to obtain work-wise, professional-wise. Then with Venus in Virgo, perhaps this is even looking at travel, saving for a trip, putting some money aside for a trip, deciding where you want to travel to, having more loving beliefs about yourself or about the world. Perhaps as well, this is looking at how you even decide to take on a new training program, or you decide to do something like quite rewarding to do with training or higher learning. So looking at your higher education, but looking at the practical approach, like a more practical approach for you and looking at the skills that you can obtain. Then also Juno will enter Virgo there the third week of October. So I think that this can solidify basically what I'm saying, where you maybe commit to a certain training program, you commit to a higher educational program of some kind. Maybe this also looks at like legal matters coming to a close, or legal matters coming to basically just focusing on legal matters in general, I think. And the reason why I say this is because the ninth house is usually tied to legal matters, but I think for you, it's about trying to come at them from a more practical way, and considering what can physically be done based on your own resources and your finances. Also, with the second week of October, Mars will enter Scorpio in your 11th house here, Capricorn. So the second week, I can see this as you perhaps pushing with respect to friendships, like trying something outside of your comfort zone, possibly, or trying to confront any fears when it comes to friendships, when it comes to groups, looking even at potential self sabotage there when it comes to friendships and communities and teams, etc. It's almost like you're going to transform, you're going to go through a renewal when it comes to these areas. And it's going to be quite profound. You tend to reinvent yourself, basically, Capricorn, when it comes to communities and teams you're a part of. And then with Pluto also turning direct in your first house, well, I think that this is going to look at, well, I mean, this is going to be quite big for you, actually, Capricorn, because Pluto has been in your first house. Pluto has been in your sign for the past 15 years. And so Pluto is going to eventually move out of your sign and into Aquarius. But I think for you this time round, it's like, right, okay, I revisited the structures and the foundations with respect to my identity, my life path, my aims, my goals. And okay, it's time to move forward a little bit. It's time to kind of see what I've learned, what lessons I've learned, what tools I've gained, what I can carry forward with me. And such matters might even be linked in with your communities and your teams, like I was just mentioning there. Now, with the third week of October as well for you, Capricorn, the Mercury Cassimi is going to happen in your 10th house. So this is actually going to be quite um, important for you professionally, especially if this welcomes a time period of you finally getting the answers that you're looking for, or just taking a moment to see like how you're being recognized by employers and by managers, even by members of the public. Now, the South Node will also be there in the 10th house. So, again, the whole thing with Libra, it's like try and just to also focus on your own family life and your private world and your home and what you're building within the home, and trying not to become so overwhelmed by like any drama or hearsay or just all the relationship mess that can happen in the 10th house for you, or of like the whole back and forth and just the uncertainty there that can sometimes happen with so much of that Libra energy. And just try to cut to the chase, basically get to the truth of a matter. Even with coming into to Scorpio season, and with the Scorpio stellium happening, a lot of this is to do with where it is that you can sabotage yourself, where it is that you can hold yourself back from maybe going through a type of relationship renewal or a friendship renewal, where it's like, yes, I don't have to listen to X, Y, and Z. Like I can overcome this. So yeah, I think a lot of this is stepping into your own personal power when it comes to grips and friends and teams and communities and networks. It's like I'm getting this whole thing of like taking the first step and trusting in the process, trusting in yourself, trusting that things will work out. Also, with the solar eclipse happening in Libra in your on the 14th of October in your 10th house. Okay, yeah, Capricorn, it could very well be that this solar eclipse invites a whole new like professional landscape for you, or a whole new direction when it comes to purpose. It could be that you consider a different path when it comes to your life's work. Feeling like you're being called toward a different form of success or a different accomplishment or achievement, or adding to your accomplishments and your achievements, Capricorn. You're always building towards something, Capricorn, and it's really admirable. Okay, and then lastly, on the 28th of October, the lunar eclipse will happen in Taurus in your fifth house. So I think that can be quite exciting for you creatively. That can be exciting for you in terms of fun and play. I think the past couple of years have brought up the things that you enjoy. It's highlighted, right? Well, what do I really like to do? And what brings me happiness? What brings me joy in life? And what fun things do I like to take part in? So yeah, this can be a lunar eclipse that highlights these types of things for you. And there's a release, just thinking about pleasure there as well. Let me see. So Martin, you said taking care of yourself first. Sadly, is not selfish. We know you're humanitarians at heart. Capricorn moon here, so you're ready to hear this. I hope you find it to be useful. David, you said thank you. Hello, hope you're doing good too. Thank you. Oh yeah, I appreciate the stream. Yes, awesome. Thank you so much for the support. Thank you for watching as well, and I hope that you find your horoscopes to be useful and beneficial. I hope you've had a good weekend as well. Triple Emers, you said, "Hi Hannah, these lives are so awesome." Yay, I'm glad you appreciate them. Thank you so much. And Tim, hello Tim. Yeah, you made it to Aquarius. You're in Aquarius, right? Okay. Let's get into Aquarius then. Well, this is gonna be the longest live stream I've ever done, I think. Okay, let's do this. Aquarius. So Aquarius, coming into the first week of October, Mercury will be in your ninth house. Okay. I think for you, Aquarius, what's going to be coming up is like you really questioning your beliefs and questioning your philosophies, questioning the meaning of life. Like, what is it that you believe in, and what is it that provides you with meaning, and how can you create even greater balance there? How can you create greater equilibrium within your life when it comes to your higher meaning? Even thinking about your teachings and what you share with the world, how can you create greater balance? I know for me, right? So of course I am an Aquarius, and I've been doing this live stream tonight, and I've been going through every single horoscope, and I'm already thinking to myself, like, how can I create better balance in it all? How can I be sort of fair and diplomatic about what I'm sharing? I don't want to make things just sound all one way. I really want to try and make things like balanced in terms of, well, you can see it this way, but there's also like other ways that you can see it, etc. So yes, Aquarius, I think in general you can already be like this. I think you're the types of people who you like to see the bigger picture. You like to gain different perspectives, different opinions from people. So yes, Mercury and Libra can add to this communicative, like this way of communicating basically. And then sharing too. Venus and Virgo then in your eighth house. Okay, so for you, I think this can even add levels of intensity and passion and intimacy to your relationships this month. But also, I would say a greater practical approach towards shared resources and shared finances, and looking at like your partner's money, or thinking about how you can join together financially. And then I would say too, this value, just a value digging deep into things. Maybe you wish to investigate more or research more. Then with Juno also entering Virgo the third week of October, I think this is going to add elements of commitment and greater devotion, and really looking at like what is meaningful to you. What do you need within intimate relationships that you can feel somewhat more secure, and to see like practically, physically, that there is commitment, and maybe even just showing yourself that there is that sense of devotion and dedication into the work that you do as well. reminding yourself even of your dedication and how you should value these qualities about yourself, which, often you don't recognize these qualities within yourself, Aquarius, with Virgo in the 8th. Okay, so the second week of October for you, Aquarius, Mars will enter Scorpio in the 10th house. All right, Aquarius, so there's a lot going on in the public sphere. There's a lot going on within your professional life coming up in October. I think that for you, there is such like a determination when it comes to your professional life. I feel as if you're going to be so like driven professionally this month, Aquarius. And then the other thing about this is Pluto will turn direct in your 12th house. So, Pluto, can I just say, Pluto being in your 12th house these past 15 years have been like, what is it? Psychologically transformative for you, spiritually transformative for you. But it's just with the directness of Pluto moving forward, I just think that you're moving forward with a greater sense of commitment to your, I don't want to say yourself, to a plan, like to a strategy, but it's coming from a place of like subconscious programming. This is what I'm getting. It's like you've been able to access different parts of the psyche, different parts of your subconscious over the past 15 years, and that's going to be freaking amazing for you moving forward. Just thinking about like the different ways in which you maybe communicate or express yourself or share or join in, the different ways that you come across. Like there's been just so much like personal growth, basically, Aquarius. This is the point that I'm trying to get at. And I think that that personal growth, you're going to move forward with that in really powerful ways, especially as Pluto does enter your sign throughout the next like 20 years or so from the end of 2024. And then I also think that these these parts of the self, these transformations are somehow linked in with the career stuff that I just mentioned as well, seeing as Mars will also be in Scorpio for October. Okay, so the Mercury Cassimi in Libra, which will happen in your 9th house here, the 3rd week of October, I think is going to look at, um, I think perhaps it's going to point toward like a new idea or a new vision, um having a even having like a cooperative companion outlook with respect to sharing. Yeah, there's just something here about a new way of sharing, but seeing that maybe two minds can be greater than one, or seeing that you don't have to do it all alone. This is what I'm getting from this. And even with the South, but you see, with the South Node being in Libra, it's also South Node in Libra, North Node in Aries. It's also being able to use discretion when it comes to who you do collaborate with, just to be discerning, basically, about who you wish to share with, communicate with, um, teach with, these types of things. Um, and then I would also say that to trust your own sort of instinct as well. Like, you could get caught up in sort of everybody else's view, and again caught up in their opinion. This is the theme that we've sort of been going with today, but I think it's also good to keep in mind like what's your unique perspective. And I know that this is you, Aquarius, and you're usually like this anyway. I mean, no matter how much you try to like negotiate or hear other people's views, you're always going to have your own view. Like it's you. You're always going to have your own sort of strong mind about things as well. Still, I just think that this Mercury Cassimi is going to invite something new with respect to others and collaborations. And the other thing with this, of course, is the solar eclipse in Libra will happen on the 14th of October. So for the eclipse to be happening here in your 9th house as well, it could be over the next couple of years or so, like big changes here, significant new changes here to do with teaching, to do with broadcasting. It could be that you start your own training program, your own course. It could be that you um start your own sort of um business, a business deal, right? Which is shared with the world. It could be that you start something more creative. So like an artistic project or a creative project that it's more focused on teamwork. And again, it's about sharing, it's about teaching. And then there will be the Scorpio stellium that will start to gather within your 10th house. So things are going to intensify for you, very much so, Aquarius. Like, this time of year for your Aquarius is usually of heightened activity. I mean, there's just so much happening when it comes to your professional life. Like, just many, like more collaborations, more offers, more money, perhaps, greater feedback, greater recognition, these types of things. But it's all going to intensify. And so I would just say with this to just be cautious of the whole thing that you can do, Aquarius, where you self-sabotage or where you think, I'm not really worthy of this success, I'm not worthy of the attention that I'm getting. Just try and slow down the mind a little bit, Aquarius, in this way, and be realistic with yourself. Okay, center, grounding. This is a good segue to the lunar eclipse in Taurus, which is going to happen in your 4th house, so toward the end of the month. Okay, so already we're seeing here with you, Aquarius, that over the past few years, you've been wanting to make changes. You've been wanting to create change with respect to family and home and your living situation. And this is a great eclipse to finally go, right, it's time to release that. And you could reap rewards. There could be like like the ending of a cycle, but the beginning of a new cycle. And it could be that the answers really come to you and you can finally see the way forward. And again, this pertains to home, family, and your living situation. Whew. All right. So that was Aquarius. And then the last one is Libra. Yes, so Tim, you said Aquarius Sun, Eddie, Aquarius Rising. Oh, okay. Hopefully you find that to be beneficial. Martin, is your sun Aquarius? Is your sun in Aquarius? And then for you, Tim, Libra is your rising sign. You're terrified that you might be famous. Oh my gosh. Yes, okay, your sun sign is Aquarius as well. Oh, it's got some Aquarius energy. Okay, let's get on to Pisces. This is the last one. And then, like I said, I will sort of add some extra bits to the Aries horoscope, and then I'll add that at the very end. Okay, so Pisces. Yes, big up for the Pisces fam. Yes. Okay, let's get into this. Right, so Pisces, beginning of the month for you. Mercury is going to enter Libra in your 8th house. Okay, Pisces. So I think, with all this Libra energy, essentially, I think that October is going to welcome greater research, investigation. This is more of a time to transform with respect to negotiation, with respect to partnership, with respect to even like having um more clear opinions, or looking at companionship, or looking at cooperation, looking at greater balance even in your life. I think balance for you seems to be like quite a big theme. And I think for you, Pisces, what often is challenging to do is to establish balance in your life, because it can feel as if you're just so you're pulled in all of these different directions, and you can be so like fluid in a way, and yeah, there can just be very little structure, basically. Though, of course, Saturn being in your 1st house has perhaps helped with that structure, which, again, at the same time, it could be that such things have not been the most comfortable for you over the past few months. But anyway, I digress. Mercury in Libra can perhaps invite more of this, like, diplomatic approach to the part of you that seeks balance in your life, or more of a fair approach. And even just even just having conversations with your intimate partner about how you can establish greater balance in your life, for example, or what you can do in order to establish greater harmony in your life, or even exploring artistic ideas, this type of thing. I even think the Mercury Cassimi in Libra, the third week of October, can suggest this, where there's like greater attunement to your intimate partner's views and how such things can be rewarding and helpful for you. Even looking at shared resources, shared finances, there, a lot of this stuff will be coming up for you. I mean, I'm kind of going a little bit off the track with this one for you, Pisces. I suppose it is you, Pisces, but even if we were to consider, on the 14th of October with the solar eclipse happening in Libra as well, I mean, this could be where there's significant new chapters and changes coming up for you, Libra, with respect to things like um, loans, debts, such as, paying off a certain loan, paying off your debt, freeing yourself from a certain, um, like a shared resource situation, basically, where maybe you and your partner are both sharing within a financial situation, and then there's that letting go process. Or it could be that, there's something here to do with mortgages, or there's something here to do with like a new investment, right? But again, it's between you and somebody else, or it's maybe even your partner, because often the eighth house looks at our partner's money. But the other thing with this is, looking at the likes of psychology, right? Exploring the mind, diving deeper into the subconscious. Perhaps there are major changes coming up for you, Pisces, with respect to your psychology, looking at your mental health, looking at just looking after your mind. Possibly even looking at diving deeper into occult-like practices, occult-like subjects. These types of big changes basically are coming up for you, Pisces. So I've kind of went along with the Libra theme there quite a bit. So we'll just stick with that for now. But even with the South Node being in Libra and the North Node being in Aries, I would just say with this one, then the whole theme that we've sort of been going with is the whole thing with Libra of exploring too many options. And maybe it is that there's just too many options to explore, right? So with that, it's good to consider, right, okay, but what can you do as an individual? Bring it back to your individual way of approaching things, your individual way of dealing with things. And even trying to see where perhaps you can get so tangled up in everybody else's issues and everybody else's problems. It's maybe this whole thing of, that is not my problem. Like, the stuff that, my friends are dealing with or my relatives are dealing with, like all that stuff, I need to keep some energy for me right now, because I need to focus on my personal values, my personal gains, my personal finances, this type of stuff. Okay, so let's look also at Venus in Virgo. So that's going to take place in your seventh house. So throughout October, I think that Venus in Virgo actually welcomes, like, I like this. I like Venus in the seventh house, and that it can look at attraction, it can look at beauty, it can look at spending quality time with your partner. It can look at the little things that your partner does that, make you feel really thankful and blessed. It could also be that you feel a greater sense of closeness with friends, with loved ones. It could also be that there are new money plans happening within relationships and partnerships. Or it could be that there's something business related coming up for you, a business partnership, or something like materially rewarding for you when it comes to business and collaborations. And then with Juno also entering Virgo the third week of October, so this will be in your seventh house as well. Haha, this can solidify things perhaps. Perhaps this looks at the furthering of a commitment, the furthering of a bond. Maybe this looks at greater devotion within relationships. Maybe this looks at even greater service, right? Providing some type of new service, or feeling like quite good about the way things are operating within your relationships, or looking at improvements that can be made so that there can be greater closeness and greater devotion there. Okay, Mars also entering your ninth house. Okay, so this is going to be from the second week of October onwards. So I think that this looks at you venturing out. Okay, I think that this is you, Pisces, throughout October, wanting to explore more. Okay, going beyond, so exploring beyond your horizons, wanting to accumulate more experiences, more knowledge, more wisdom, but more like a cult. I'm getting occult like subjects, I'm getting investigation, I'm getting like beneath the surface stuff. Um I'm picking up on just greater research and challenging the research as well, right? Challenging the research, wanting to like dive deeper into certain programs that you're a part of, training, so like different training that you're doing, and possibly even like being determined, being driven, and that focus and that dedication for you can be rewarding as well. And then the other thing with this is Pluto direct in Capricorn in your 11th house. I think that this looks at you moving forward with the sort of plans and the strategies and the structures that you've been revisiting um, within groups that you're a part of. So, looking at, for example, the structure of a company, the structure of an organization you're a part of, the structure of a team that you're a part of. You've been revisiting these structures and these foundations. And then with Pluto moving direct throughout October, the second week of October, it's like, right, okay, I'm ready to move forward with all of this stuff. And this is what I've learned as well. And these are the tools that I've gained, the practical like tools that you've gained. Tools of responsibility, maturity, etc. But perhaps such things as well are tied in to the further education stuff, the further knowledge stuff, right? And then the other thing I would just want to say with this, of course, is the energy, like with the Scorpio stuff, the energy is intensifying. So for you, it's almost as if, Pisces, you are going to be this like knowledge demon. I was saying with the Virgos, the opposite sign, Virgos of being like these keyboard. Did I say typing board earlier? But anyway, these keyboard warriors, right? Where they're just like writing a book in 3 weeks, this type of stuff. But for you, it's almost like you're going to learn an entire course in 3 weeks, Pisces, because you're going to be so like focused and driven. It's gonna be, yeah, it's gonna be so cool for you in this way. And then the other thing I just want to say with this is perhaps being so focused and dedicated to like a new place that you want to visit, a new destination that you want to go to. Martin said there, the linguist, you know what, that makes me think of learning different languages, like that type of stuff. You could even decide you want to learn a different language, but this energy gives you like this power, this drive to do that potentially. But again, it could be that you decide to travel to a new place because you're like, I really, really, really want to save for this. I really, really want to go here. So you put those plans in place and you show determination, Pisces. So that's the Scorpio stuff. And then just to end this, on the 20th of October, there will be that lunar eclipse in Taurus, and that's going to happen in your third house. So I would say here, okay, let's think about how over the past few years, eclipses happening in this third house for you. So neighborhood changes, okay? Educational changes, transport changes. Perhaps this lunar eclipse in Taurus is going to look at like like the combining of things, or the point of a release, the point of, right, it is finally time to move. It is finally time to start over within this area, within this neighborhood, or it's finally time to get a new car, or these types of things. Or it could look like this renewal of some kind, a significant new change of some kind, tied to your very mindset in terms of like having a peaceful, more calmer state of mind. Okay, that's us. Okay, now, like I said, just give me a moment. I said that I wanted to revisit Aries a moment, right? So we're going to do that. Thank you so much. We did it. It's been 3 hours and 13 minutes. Haven't even had a break, really. Let's do this. Okay, let me see. Uh Tim, you said thank you, Hannah. Thank you so much, Tim. David, you said so many directions. If you've heard the term straw man, I've never heard of that. I don't think. I do not think so. Alexander, you said learn Japanese. Oh, I would love to learn Japanese. I would. I would. David, you said thank you. This is absolutely belter. Whoa. Going to get more cult, ready to get more focus. Yo yo. Cool. Would be more beneficial. Learn Japanese and Latin. A_1Y said, thank you, Hannah. Thank you so much for being here. Oh my gosh, thank you. Right, I said that I wanted to revisit Aries just a moment. Okay, let me just come out of there. Yeah, okay. Aries, I just wanted to add some extra information to your horoscope, okay? So the theme that we've been going with throughout these horoscopes is what could very well come up for you when it comes to the solar eclipse in Libra. So what like significant new changes, new chapters that can bring. So what I've been saying is these significant new chapters and changes are not going to necessarily happen on the day, of the solar eclipse on the 14th of October. It's going to be taking place over a couple of years. But for you, Aries, right, with the solar eclipse happening in Libra in your 7th house, I think that this is going to look at significant new changes to do with relationships and partnerships, such as, well, engagements, marriage, looking here at even, well, breaking up, right? That's also a possibility, okay? But still, perhaps it even looks at greater closeness because it is like it's Libra. But anyway, so yeah, engagement, marriage, partnerships, a business deal, a business contract that is signed, something very new, even when it comes to a collaboration, teamwork as well. So, yeah, there could be major, major shifts and changes going on for you, Aries, with respect to relationships. And then even looking at integrating more of the shadow, integrating your shadow side as well with the Libra energy in terms of, okay, being somewhat more diplomatic and being somewhat more fair or rational within situations, like thinking things through a little bit more. But then, of course, at the same time, with the North Node being in your sign, it is also looking at Aries. The next couple of years is so much about your path and your mission and your aims and your goals. And yeah, I just think with that, you still it's still about considering what it is that you would really, really like to do, but just to also balance that out a little bit with, like, considering other people and being somewhat more fair and diplomatic and being able to negotiate. I think negotiating could be a skill that comes up for you quite a bit over the next couple of years. And then the last thing for you, Aries, is with the lunar eclipse happening in your 2nd house as well in Taurus. Okay, so for the past couple of years, there has been this eclipse in the 2nd house for you. And so what has come up a lot is like, okay, what do I need to accumulate? What do I need to build? What do I need to gain? How do I need to save? How do I need to budget? And yes, things have been quite like up and down and changeable with Uranus as well, just going on there for you. But I think the lunar eclipse in Taurus is going to look at like a big sort of renewal, okay? A renewal, a release, an old habit that just you shed, right? It's like this pattern, this mindset toward a money situation. It's time to leave that in the past and it's time to move forward with greater clarity. And then, yeah, even with all of the energy starting to accumulate within your 8th house, the intensity, this is something else that I've been saying throughout these horoscopes, is the intensity that's been building, right? So for you, what's been building is just all of that, like that passion that you're feeling when it comes to shared resources, when it comes to any debts that you're paying off, any loans that you're paying off there, and perhaps there is basically there's something that you wish to um, obtain with your partner. And this is a month where you're going to want to really focus and you're going to want to just execute basically when it comes to your goals and how they're related to shared resources, how they're related to the financial side of things. Okay. But then I would also say looking at how you will practice emotional resilience and how you will overcome with respect to your psychology, right? Looking at your subconscious and how much you want to be this courageous warrior as a way to overcome anything that holds you back, anything that holds you back in life. It's like, no, I'm going to overcome this. I'm not going to let it get the best of me. Okay, so I just want to say thank you so, so much for being here, everyone. I really have appreciated your time. Thank you for being so patient with me earlier as I was changing the little sun signs around. And I just want to say that if you want to support the channel, okay, you can head on over to Patreon. It's Patreon, Hannah's Elsewhere. And thank you so much to my patrons over there. You know who you are. You definitely make this possible. So thank you for all of your support. And that is me. This has been the longest live stream. It's so weird. I've reached this like a what's the word? Like a breaking point or a barrier, I've pushed through it and now I'm feeling all energized. But yes, thank you so much for listening. And if you do want to buy me a coffee, I would be very, very appreciative. Like if you enjoyed it, definitely buy me a coffee as a way to show your support. And thank you so much. Thank you. And I hope that you find your horoscopes to be useful. I'm just going to read through the comments one more time before I go. My gosh, what a session, everyone. We made it. Happy October. Happy October. I hope you have a great month. Post 3 art streams flows date. This is not Alexander. Earlier you were saying about I look exhausted. Say that comment again. I'm like, yes. Earlier on, I was like, no, I'm pretty calm. Now 3.5 hours later, yeah, I'm pretty exhausted. You scrolled a little back to watch the Aquarius part, and now the live is back from Aries again. I know. Don't worry, I will sort it all out in the timestamps. Just give me some time to get the timestamps organized. I put a little bit of Aries at the beginning, and then we'll put a little bit at the end. It'll all work out. It'll all be fine. So, yeah. But Martin, you said thanks for sharing. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. I really appreciate that. I love what I do so much, I really do. So I love sharing astrology. It's one of my favorite things. Well, it is my favorite thing. It's to do. Just love it so much. But anyway, so that is definitely me. I hope you have a great rest to your Sunday. I hope you have a lovely week ahead, everybody. And thank you again for listening. And I will talk to you all very, very soon. Have a good time. Have a good rest of your day.